How could members of the Miners' Brotherhood end up dead here? And they were executed. Look how their bodies hang on the walls. This is an execution method. Could it be that another faction has gone to war with the Miners' Brotherhood? Whoever killed them must have formal military training. After speaking, Lin Han immediately began searching the corpses before him. Soon, he found a notebook on one of the bodies. By the beam of his flashlight, Lin Han read its contents aloud. We are the third search team of the Miners' Brotherhood. We arrived at the dispatch station 3 days ago to scavenge supplies. On the second underground floor of the dispatch tower, we found a sealed chamber. When we opened it, we unleashed some kind of entity. As he held the notebook, it was plain to see the writer's mounting terror as the entries progressed. The handwriting grew increasingly messy. The writer's hand shook so violently that some strokes tore right through the paper. That thing is impervious to bullets and fire. No weapon can harm it. It can take the shape of any person. It approaches first, wearing the face of someone you trust, speaking to you, and then, when you let your guard down. The last character remained unfinished, cut off abruptly, leaving a streaked trail of ink. The writer had clearly died mid-sentence, caught by the monster. Lin Han lifted his head and locked eyes with Shen Qingyi. It can disguise itself, resist gunfire, mimic other people. What kind of monster is this? Are there creatures other than zombies in this world? Lin Han frowned. He had never imagined they would face monsters beyond zombies, and this was terrible news for their group. The notes made it obvious that this creature possessed high intelligence. Zombies lacked any real cognition, making them relatively manageable. But a monster that could think for itself, whatever it is, it proves this station is far less safe than it appears. And if that entity is still alive, it could be lurking close by right now. Shen Qingyi warned, raising her vigilance to the highest level. The rest of the team took the chance to search for usable resources. Just then, a crashing sound echoed from the far end of the workshop. Everyone raised their weapons. The gun barrels of the 4 mechanical hounds swiveled toward the noise in unison. Who's there? Lin Han shouted sharply, holding his twin axes ready. There was no reply, not the response a human would give. The crash sounded again, closer this time. Whatever made the noise was drawing near. Curson, send one of your mechanical hounds ahead to investigate. Xia Curson nodded and commanded one mechanical hound deeper into the workshop. Live footage from the hound's camera streamed to the holographic display projected in Xia Curson's mind. The rear of the workshop served as a maintenance bay for large machinery. Disassembled engines littered the ground, and workbenches overflowed with spare parts and tools. A metal cabinet stood in the corner, its door hanging half open. Then the camera caught a shadow. The creature moved in an uncanny, unnatural way. Its limbs bent backward at the joints as it crawled across the ceiling like a spider. Its head twisted a full 180 degrees, staring straight down at the mechanical hound. It then smiled at the camera, as if aware someone watched it through the machine. That grin revealed its horrifying features. Its mouth stretched all the way back to its ears, lined with 2 rows of triangular fangs. As it smiled, its appearance shifted continuously. It morphed into Shen Qingyi's face, then Lin Wire, Su Qian, Zhou Ruodong, Zhao Mingyao, Xia Curson. Finally, it took on Lin Han's features. This meant the monster had been observing them ever since they stepped out of their vehicle, choosing only now to reveal itself, toying with its prey for sport. Before Xia Curson could observe further, the feed from the mechanical hound cut out. A system notification from her class ability popped up. Unit count, 1. The hound had been eliminated in an instant. Xia Curson could not even register what had happened. It attacked my mechanical hound. Xia Curson opened her eyes, stunned. It moved far too fast. I didn't catch a single frame of its attack. I've lost contact with the unit. Everyone, evacuate the workshop immediately. Lin Han made a split-second decision. He grabbed Su Qian, who stood closest to him, and gripped his axe to cover their retreat. The emergence of this new monster caught them completely off guard. None expected such staggering speed and bizarre abilities. 6 people and 3 mechanical hounds moved toward the workshop exit. When they were only 10 meters from the doorway, a figure dropped from the overhead shadows. As it hit the ground, everyone got a clear look at its form. It was a tall, pale gray humanoid creature with smooth skin. It had no facial features, only a blank, oval head. But the moment it landed, flesh on its skull rippled and reshaped, forming a face every single person there recognized. Lin Han's face. It was not merely the likeness. Everything matched, even the clothing, the down jacket, cold, weather trousers. In its hands appeared 2 fire axes identical to Lin Han's. Good heavens! Lin Han stared at the duplicate, momentarily stunned. The imposter tilted its head and spoke in Lin Han's exact voice. Good heavens! The tone and inflection were indistinguishable. It was like gazing into a mirror. Spread out. Don't cluster near me. Cast all buffs on me so we can tell us apart. I will face this copy alone. Lin Han snapped out of his shock and swung his left axe toward the fake. The imposter reacted with astonishing speed. It dodged the blade sideways and swung its own axe toward Lin Han's neck. Lin Han blocked with his right axe. Clang. The impact sent Lin Han stumbling backward, shock washing over him. He never anticipated the creature could copy his strength perfectly. The force behind that strike matched Lin Han before he activated his Berserk War God class. However, it seemed unable to replicate class abilities. None of the S-tier passive skills manifested on the imposter. This thing, it truly copies my combat power? Even so, Lin Han was astounded by how formidable the duplicate was. The monster gave him no time to recover. The instant it pushed Lin Han back, it twisted and lunged towards Su Qian, the closest target. Su Qian barely had time to process the threat before the imposter closed in. The axe rose high, aimed straight down at her head. At the last possible second, Shen Qingyi's crossbow bolt flew true. The arrow pierced the imposter's wrist, the force knocking the phantom axe from its grasp. Yet the wound sealed itself before their eyes. The arrow was pushed out by regenerating flesh and clattered onto the floor. The attack had been interrupted, but the imposter's attention locked onto Shen Qingyi instead. It abandoned its pursuit of Su Qian and charged straight for her. As it moved, its body shifted again. Its frame slimmed, its features rearranged until it became an exact copy of Shen Qingyi. It even manifested a replica of her crossbow. Its mimicry appeared boundless. What even is this creature? How can it copy everything? Zhao Mingyao cried out. Without hesitation, she activated her skill. Holy light swirled around her, directed not at her allies, but at the monster. A purification spell washed over the imposter, attempting to strip away its shape-shifting ability. The magic only slowed the creature for a heartbeat before it recovered. It possesses an innate transformation ability, not a skill. My purification cannot suppress it. Then we rely on physical force. Lin Han readied himself once more. The Berserk War God passive, Battle Fury, triggered. Though their exchange had lasted barely more than 10 seconds, it was enough to stack an attack bonus. He circled in from the side and swung both axes at the imposter's torso. The creature had taken Shen Qingyi's form, and it reacted exactly as Lin Han predicted. It dodged like an ordinary human and raised its phantom crossbow to block. This was its critical flaw. It was mimicking Shen Qingyi. Her strength and melee prowess paled in comparison to Lin Han in his Berserk War God state. Lin Han's axes slipped through its guard. The first bit deep into its shoulder, the second sank into its ribs. The axe cut through pale gray skin, spilling thick, dark blue blood. The imposter let out a shrill cry. It staggered backward. Its shoulder and rib wounds began to mend, yet far slower than the arrow injury had healed. We found its weakness. It inherits the capabilities of whoever it copies, and its regeneration speed depends on how severe its wounds are. Lin Han quickly deduced the monster's limitation. Its mimicry was not unlimited. It was constrained by the baseline ability of the person it imitated. So we fight it using tactics effective against whoever it turns into. Lin Wire shouted, activating Radiant Shelter. Golden light enveloped Lin Han. His strength increased by 50%, agility by 30%, and wound recovery doubled. Lin Han felt the power of his Berserk War God class surge further. Battle Fury stacked to 2 layers, granting an additional 10% attack boost. He refused to give the imposter time to recuperate. He pushed off the ground, charging forward like a cannonball, leaving a small crater beneath his feet from the force. His twin axes arced through the air, aimed at the creature's neck. The imposter shifted shape again. This time, it took the form of an unfamiliar, heavily muscled man Lin Han had never seen. The figure radiated the aura of a powerful class wielder, with bulging, pillar-like muscles. Faced with Lin Han's assault, the imposter did something no one anticipated. It raised its arms and blocked Lin Han's twin axes with pure physical strength. Clang! It stopped the axe strike barehanded. Lin Han froze, stunned by the sheer defensive power of those muscles. Damn, who is this copy? Its class trait is insane. Xia Kursen spoke up as Lin Han recovered from his surprise. It can transform into people we have never met. That means it stores forms of far more individuals than just our team. She commanded her 3 remaining mechanical hounds to open fire. Light machine gun rounds slammed into the muscular imposter, drawing splatters of blue blood, yet failed to land a fatal blow. The muscle-bound form's natural defense was too strong. Standard light ammunition could not penetrate its tissue. Switch to armor, piercing rounds. Xia Kursen adjusted the ammunition load for her summoned units, a new ability unlocked after advancing her class. She could expend extra energy to alter their ammunition type. The ammunition feeds of the 3 mechanical hounds shifted. The caliber remained unchanged, but the bullets were replaced with tungsten, core armor, piercing rounds. The next volley yielded drastically different results. The armor-piercing bullets tore through the imposter's muscles, creating dozens of perforating wounds across its body. The imposter stumbled backward, shedding streams of blue blood. Its regeneration could no longer keep pace with the damage it sustained. Strike while the enemy is weakened. Lin Han knew the principle well. He charged forward, hacking relentlessly at the injured imposter. At that moment, his Berserk War God Execute passive activated. The monster's health had fallen below 30%. Every subsequent strike would deal double damage. Lin Han channeled all his strength into his right fire axe. Seizing an opening, he drove the blade deep into its left shoulder, swinging hard enough to cleave all the way down to its right hip. The imposter in the muscular man's form was split cleanly in two. Blue blood and internal organs gushed out, splattering across Lin Han. Even torn in half, the creature refused to die. Both writhing halves twisted on the ground. It morphed into Lin Wire's shape, dragging its upper torso toward her. Clearly, it intended to consume the weakest member of the group to heal its injuries. It's targeting Wire. Stop it! Shen Qingyi loosed 3 bolts in quick succession, pinning the upper half of the creature to the floor. Yet the monster's will to survive was ferocious, and it still struggled despite its injuries. Lin Han's patience ran thin. He strode forward, raised his axe high, and split its head straight down the middle as one might split a watermelon. Dark blue fluid poured from the fractured skull and spread across the concrete. Shortly afterward, its remains triggered some kind of reaction. The body decomposed continuously, dissolving into a viscous liquid that seeped into the ground, leaving only charred marks. A monster core lay where it had collapsed. It took so much effort to defeat, yet only one core? The reward hardly matches the risk. Lin Han sounded surprised. He expected such a formidable foe to drop multiple cores, like the stitched zombie. The battle had not been worthwhile from a loot perspective. The young women leaned against the walls, gasping for breath, still shaken by their encounter with the monster. What exactly is that thing? It's nothing like ordinary zombies. Su Qian replayed the fight in her mind. This was their first encounter with a monster other than zombies, and the shock weighed heavily on all of them. Lin Han pulled his axe free from the ground, dark blue blood still coating the blade. Ignoring the other's shock, he replayed every moment of the fight in his head, compiling all information he could gather. He had a premonition they would encounter more of these creatures. He needed to formulate a reliable strategy to combat them quickly. The monster possessed 3 core abilities. It could copy the appearance, certain combat skills, and physical attributes of any person. It boasted terrifying regenerative power, and it could store the forms of multiple targets. If Lin Han had made even one mistake during the fight, the outcome could have swung the other way. Its critical error was choosing to mimic Shen Qingyi to fight him. Later, when pressured by Lin Han's relentless assault, it shifted into the muscular man to tank his blows. If it had maintained Lin Han's form for the entire fight, defeating it would have been far more difficult. This must be the entity mentioned in the notebook. The Miners' Brotherhood team was almost certainly wiped out by creatures like this. Xia Kursen sent her mechanical hounds to scan the charred residue. Scan results show its biological composition is vastly different from regular zombies. Zombies, though mutated, are still modified humans. But based on its cellular structure, this creature is not human, not even a mammal. What is it then? I don't know. One thing is certain. There is more than one of these beings inside this station. Her words made everyone's nerves tense once again. What makes you so sure? The Miners' Brotherhood Journal states the sealed chamber lies on the 2nd underground floor of the dispatch tower. Xia Kursen pulled up the station map compiled by her mechanical hounds. We are currently in the maintenance workshop, at least 300 meters away from the tower. If there was only one such monster, why would it travel so far from the tower to hunt? You mean? My theory is that multiple entities escaped from the sealed room beneath the dispatch tower. They scattered throughout the station to hunt separately. The one we fought is just a single specimen. What about the rest? They are either already dead or still roaming the station. Hearing this, Lin Han understood the gravity of their situation and made a new decision. This marks our first encounter with this breed of monster. We won the fight, but it was incredibly dangerous. If we recklessly press deeper now, what if we run into more than one of these creatures? Lin Han's words fell over the group, silencing everyone. The Blood Wolf Gang's intelligence labeled the abandoned dispatch station unexplored. Even the 7-member Miners Brotherhood team had been wiped out here, leaving only an incomplete journal. That fact alone spoke volumes. What do we do next? Su Qian asked. We return to the vehicle. We will pause our exploration, devise reliable countermeasures against these monsters, and only head for the dispatch tower afterward. We still need to eliminate the creatures infesting this station. The supplies stored here are far too valuable for our group to ignore. But we cannot charge in blindly without preparation. Truth be told, we got lucky today. Only one monster confronted us, and we fought it within this relatively open workshop. But if 3 of these monsters appear together in a narrow underground space, what will we fight them with? Hearing this, a chill ran through everyone. It was true. They were talking about the dim, cramped second underground level of the control tower. What if one of us got replaced by the monster? The creature could copy someone's face and voice, creeping closer in the darkness before striking when no one was prepared. Just imagining that scene filled them with dread. All right, after listening to Lin Han's words, the 6 people and 3 hounds did not raise any objections. They hurried back to the Tundra train as fast as they could. Ever since the train had been upgraded to Tier 3, the crew could remain on board for up to 6 hours whenever they docked. The moment the doors slid shut, everyone collapsed onto their seats as if all strength had been drained from their bodies. First, let's do a head count to make sure everyone's back. Is anyone missing, or is there an extra person among us? Shin Qingyi was the last to step inside. She slammed the door shut and locked it, her voice sharp with vigilance. These shape-shifting monsters were most dangerous once they infiltrated a group. Lin Han quickly counted the team members. All of them were present. No one was missing, and there were no unfamiliar additions. We need to make more preparations. Lin Han looked around at the group. This is our first time fighting a monster of this caliber. At the end of the day, our biggest problem isn't figuring out how to kill it, it's how to identify it. If we can't solve that problem, heading back down there will be nothing short of a suicide mission. After all, the creature can turn into any one of us, sneak into the team, and pick us off one by one. Lin Han summed up the situation, then stood to his feet. Everyone rest for now. Spend some time thinking up strategies to deal with these mimics. We'll set out again in a few hours to seize the control station. Everyone agreed and dispersed to their separate quarters. No one noticed Zhao Yao Miao, who stayed in the main carriage, staring down at her lap. Her hands were clasped tightly over her knees, lost in deep thought. A faint blush had crept up her ears without her realizing it. Back in his private compartment, Lin Han washed up, attempting to scrub the blue monster blood from his cold, resistant suit. When he found it would not come off, he gave up. Today's battle had taken a heavy toll on him. Though the passive ability of the Berserk Blood Warrior was formidable, it drained far more stamina than ordinary combat. After swinging his twin axes dozens of times, the muscles in his arms still throbbed faintly. He leaned back in his chair and stared up at the carriage ceiling, replaying every detail of the fight in his mind. Lin Han, what are you thinking about? A soft voice suddenly sounded from the doorway. Zhao Yao Miao stood at the entrance to the meeting room. She had taken off her heavy cold weather suit, leaving only a thin white knit top. Her long hair was loosely tied up behind her head, lending her a gentle, intellectual aura. She looked strikingly beautiful. I'm thinking, the Minor Brotherhood search team had far better gear and experience than us, yet all 7 of them died down there. To be honest, we only made it out alive today, thanks to luck. But luck won't keep saving us forever. I'm terrified of the day I fail to protect everyone. Lin Han said with a hint of embarrassment. Truth be told, he had grown to care deeply for every person on this train. He could not bear the thought of any of them coming to harm. A soft smile tugged at Zhao Yao Miao's lips when she heard him speak. This man truly had a kind heart. At the same time, she steeled her resolve. Lin Han. As Lin Han turned to face her, Zhao Yao Miao took a sudden step forward. She stepped so close that she nearly collided with his chest. The space between them shrank to almost nothing. Yao Miao? Are you hurt somewhere? Lin Han could catch the faint, pleasant scent lingering on her. Remember what I told you about the requirements for class advancement? Zhao Yao Miao lowered her voice. Turns out we can trigger the advancement early. We don't have to wait until every condition is fully met. By the time she finished speaking, her cheeks were bright red. Yao Miao, do you mean? Lin Han finally understood what she was hinting at. I want you to ease your burdens. You've pushed yourself too hard today. She stood on tiptoe and whispered near his ear. Besides, when you saved me earlier, I regretted something. I regret not trusting you sooner. If the next time you can't reach me in time, I don't want to die filled with regret. Before Lin Han could respond, Zhao Yao Miao leaned forward. There was no hesitation, no tentative advance. Usually quiet and reserved within the team, the Holy Light Warlock acted with more determination than any warrior at this moment. Lin Han's hands hovered in the air for a split second before slowly settling lightly on her waist. The small compartment filled with quiet, hushed conversation. An hour later. Lin Han, do you think I acted too impetuously? Zhao Yao Miao rested comfortably beside him. Don't talk nonsense. Did you receive a system blessing? The others all gained one after advancing. Lin Han gently held her. I did. My healing skill effectiveness will permanently increase by 30%. Zhao Yao Miao said excitedly. That's fantastic news. Your class power now ranks among the absolute best. If we face hordes of monsters later and people get injured, we'll have far greater means to treat them. Lin Han, I've figured out how to beat the mimic monsters. Though they can copy human appearances, their bodies differ fundamentally from ours. They can replicate our shape, but their thermal signatures will never match a real human's. The mechanical hounds can detect thermal radiation. Can Coexian create a standard template based on all our thermal signatures? If the monster takes someone's form but its thermal data doesn't match the template, we can identify it instantly, no matter how convincing its disguise is. Lin Han's eyes lit up in the dim light. That's a brilliant plan. You're incredibly sharp. Of course I am, Zhao Yao Miao said proudly. Don't get the wrong idea. I came here primarily to share this battle strategy. She chuckled at her own words. With a viable strategy in hand, Lin Han's mood lifted noticeably. After 5 hours, thermal signature profiles for every member of the team had been fully recorded. The doors of the Tundra train slid open once more. 6 people and 3 mechanical hounds stepped back onto the platform of the abandoned control station. Listen closely, Lin Han addressed the group. Our destination is the second underground level of the control tower. We need to locate the sealed chamber mentioned in the journal. Along the way, we'll search the maintenance workshops and spare parts warehouses. We intend to turn this abandoned control station into our base of operations. It has ample space and abundant supplies. We are bound to run into more monsters during our search. Rather than waiting for random ambushes, we'll take the initiative to hunt them. That way, we retain control of the situation. Lin Han's tone was firm. He had fully made up his mind. Besides, think about what the Minor Brotherhood's search team came all this way looking for. Anything worth sending a team across such dangerous territory must be extremely valuable. It could be engineering blueprints, rare weaponry, or an essential item needed to upgrade our train. Whatever it is, it will be a huge asset to us. Shen Qingyi picked up the thread of conversation. You're right. To upgrade the train to Tier 4, we need a Tier 4 blueprint and 3 high-tier monster cores. Supplies like these can't be found at ordinary docking points. We have to venture into high-risk zones. This abandoned control station is the most dangerous location we've encountered yet, so it makes sense the Tier 4 blueprint might be here. Before departing, they had searched the belongings of the 7 fallen members of the Minor Brotherhood. Lin Han had kept the journal they recovered. He suspected it would prove useful later. The team advanced north along the railway tracks. According to the station map, the control tower stood at the heart of the facility. It rose 12 stories high. The top floor housed the train dispatch control room, while 2 underground levels below stored equipment and cable infrastructure. For warehouses and 2 maintenance workshops surrounded the tower. Xiako Xian's analysis suggested that if the mimic monsters had escaped from beneath the control tower, their activity would be concentrated in the buildings surrounding it. That meant they would likely encounter more creatures on their approach. Every member of the team understood this risk. They marched forward with maximum vigilance, wary of the monsters suddenly adopting one of their faces and slipping into the formation. None of them wanted to experience a twisted game of distinguishing imposter from ally. Unusual thermal signature detected to the front right, Xiako Xian warned, bringing the team to a halt. Lin Han glanced over and nodded at her. Xiako Xian understood immediately and dispatched 1 mechanical hound to investigate the anomalous heat source, while the rest maintained a defensive formation. Moments later, data streamed back from the hound, and Xiako Xian spoke, stunned. There are living humans inside. 3 individuals, all conscious, tied to support pillars. Other survivors. We cannot be certain. Their surface temperatures match regular humans. They aren't zombies. But, Xiako Xian hesitated. One of the 3 heat signatures closely matches the mimic monster we fought before. The monster is using these 3 survivors as bait to lure us into a trap. Can these monsters really think that clearly enough to set ambushes? Lin Han frowned at the report. This variant monster was far more troublesome than he expected. Its intelligence exceeded all expectations. It could mimic human forms, and now it had learned to set traps. We strike fast. We can question the survivors to learn more about this place. Odds are they belong to the Minor Brotherhood. Lin Han quickly finalized his plan and assigned battle roles. Ku Xian, use the mechanical hounds to disrupt the monster. Senior Sister provides long-range suppression. I'll engage it up close. Everyone else stay alert, and don't let its disguises confuse you. Understood. With the battle plan confirmed, the group moved without delay. 3 mechanical hounds crashed through the iron warehouse gate, firing armor, piercing rounds into the darkness. Brief bursts of gunfire illuminated the warehouse interior. 3 support pillars held bound survivors, 2 men and 1 woman. They stared toward the entrance in terror, clearly shocked to see other survivors arrive. They certainly had not expected the newcomers to immediately open fire. Ku Xian piloted the hounds with precise control. Every bullet targeted the monster's thermal signature, avoiding the hostages. Right where the shots converged stood another mimic identical to the one they had fought earlier. Instead of attacking immediately, it stood still, continuously shifting its shape, seemingly deciding which form to use against them. Having fought one mimic already, the mechanical hounds knew how to engage it. Armor, piercing rounds easily pierced its defenses. Blue blood sprayed out with every hit. Unlike zombies, the monster's blood carried no foul stench. Roar. Wounded, the monster let out a deafening roar. It abandoned its attempt to copy a human and morphed into a half-human, half-beast shape resembling a humanoid tiger. This was likely its true form, though its shape-shifting power made it impossible to know for certain. It pounced straight at Lin Han, who led the charge, like a predator lunging for prey. Lin Han met its assault head-on. His axes clashed violently against the monster's claws. Clang! The creature's claws were as hard as forged iron, sending sparks flying against his weapons. A numbing shock traveled up Lin Han's arms. Even without activating his class ability, this monster possessed strength comparable to Lin Han after 3 talent linkages. He was genuinely surprised. This one seems stronger than the last mimic. Stay cautious, everyone. Lin Han shouted the warning. He released his grip on one axe and stepped backward 2 paces. The monster refused to let him retreat. Mistaking his movement for fear, it pressed forward, slashing its claws downward. The blow struck the concrete floor, carving deep gashes into the surface. The raw power on full display was terrifying. A direct hit on a human would be crippling, if not fatal. Lin Han dodged the strike and activated his class ability to stack his passive buffs. At the same time, he spoke into his communicator. Senior Sister, aim for its eyes. Let's see how it reacts. I wonder if Zhang and the others are still alive. Chen Hong sighed. Their expedition had suffered devastating losses. Liya, Zhang, and the rest are alive. Lu Xing lifted his damaged walkie-talkie, excitement spreading across his face. Where are they? Chen Hong leaned forward urgently. Lu Xing hesitated, still unable to get clear coordinates from the transmission. Senior Sister, something feels off, Lin Han said. He had assumed the mimic tied Liya and her companions to the pillars to use them as bait to draw in human prey. But as he thought it over, he realized he was missing a critical detail. Remain extra vigilant from here on. Shen Qingyi nodded, sharing his unease. That location is the cable chamber. Understood. Liya clutched the walkie-talkie, her face drained of color. They're trapped inside the cable chamber? The conversation between Liya's group was not kept private, so Lin Han overheard every word. The cable chamber is the sealed underground room on level 2. Liya's expression darkened. Mimics roamed freely in the area. In their current condition, attempting a rescue would be a death sentence. She turned toward Lin Han, unsure how to phrase her request. Lin, you want us to help them? Lin Han raised an eyebrow, instantly guessing her intention. We're willing to assist, but what will you offer in return? Shen Qingyi cut in. As one of Lin Han's earliest companions, she knew Lin Han planned to head to the cable chamber regardless. Rather than letting Li Ya's group tag along without contributing, she negotiated favorable terms. Lin Han stood behind the 3 survivors and silently gave Shen Qingyi a thumbs up. What are your demands? Liya had expected this response. In this harsh post-apocalyptic world, no one offered help without something in return. Senior Sister, Lin Han glanced toward Shen Qingyi. The Tundra train still required many resources to reach Tier 4. Liya's faction would not possess high-tier upgrade blueprints. As for modification schematics, Ku Xian could design those, so they held little value. Lin Han could gather other materials on his own. Wasting a favor for trivial supplies would be unwise. We want intelligence. Shen Qingyi took charge of the negotiations and drew a deep breath. She managed the team's logistics and knew exactly what their group needed most. Detailed information about Outpost 7. The more comprehensive, the better. Any other useful intelligence will also be accepted. If they had not run into the Blood Wolf gang at Mine Site 6, they would still be in the dark, marching straight into Su Tianba's trap. Outpost 7 was the only nearby settlement capable of manufacturing firearms and ammunition, making it incredibly important. If they hoped to grow stronger quickly, they could not avoid confronting Su Tianba. Shen Qingyi knew the Miner Brotherhood, one of the major regional survivor factions, could afford this price. It was possible the Brotherhood would welcome someone else challenging their rival gangs. I can agree to those terms, but only after we rescue Zhang and his team, Liya said, relieved they were not demanding rare supplies. We can't waste time. Chen Hong grew anxious. It was clear he was close to Zhang. The reinforced door protecting them runs solely on backup batteries. At most, they only have 1 hour left. If we join forces, your 3 people must follow all my orders. Is that acceptable? Lin Han looked directly at Chen Hong, then fixed his gaze on Liya. She was clearly the one with authority in their group. Liya agreed without hesitation. Lu Xing started to argue, but Chen Hong quickly held him back. Once all details were settled, Liya led the way, and the whole party advanced toward the cable chamber. No suspicious thermal signatures detected by the mechanical hounds. The mimic is not on this level. Xiaoke Xian analyzed data transmitted in real time. The monster's disguise ability was far too dangerous. If it snuck into the formation, the consequences would be catastrophic. Lin Han was confident in his own combat ability, but Su Qian and Zhou Ruodong were ordinary humans. A single mistake could leave them vulnerable to the mimic. Squeak. The heavy iron door creaked as it pushed open. The grating sound echoed eerily through the silent second underground level. Stay on guard. Lin Han tensed at the loud noise. Xiaoke Xian immediately ordered 2 mechanical hounds to move to the rear. They had nearly finished sweeping the entire second underground level. Their only remaining vulnerability was the several entry and exit passages. If the mimic isn't deaf, it's most likely on the upper floors. That explains why it couldn't hear the commotion down here. Lin Han muttered to himself, then lifted his state of high alert. He had no intention of letting the 2 fleeing mimics get away. After all, this place would be their base from now on. Old Zhang, are you all right? Liya was the first to step into the secret chamber. Through the bulletproof glass ahead, she spotted Old Zhang and the other 2 at once. They were in terrible shape. Old Zhang's left arm had been severed, while the other 2 bore injuries of varying severity. Liya, you're alive. Old Zhang had been dozing off, but he scrambled to his feet at the sound and tried to unlock the door. That can't be. I watched Liya get captured with my own eyes. You're a fake. The woman beside Old Zhang paled with terror the moment she laid eyes on Liya. She hastily pulled Old Zhang back and planted herself firmly in front of the iron gate. Uncle Zhang, if we open this door, we'll all die here. It was clear the woman, Cui Lu, had been driven to the brink by the mimics. Cui Lu, we've been rescued. They're survivors from another train. As Liya finished speaking, Lin Han and the rest filed into the room. Mimics, do not speak. Just then, the other man inside the cable room spoke slowly in an attempt to calm everyone down. Old Zhang, what's wrong with Wang Qian? Liya thought there was something odd about the mechanical way he spoke, yet she could not pinpoint exactly what felt off. He's right. The 2 mimics we encountered never uttered a single word. Lin Han glanced at Wang Qian, but noticed nothing out of the ordinary. Before pushing open the gate, he'd sent Xia Kerson's mechanical hounds to perform a full thermal scan, and the devices had detected no abnormal heat signatures. Eventually, Old Zhang's group shut off the backup power and unlocked the iron door. Here's what you asked for. Liya kept her word. Though they had run into no mimics along the way, she pulled out a document containing detailed information on Outpost 7. This is everything accessible with my clearance level. Lin Han skimmed through it quickly. The records were far more thorough than the intelligence he'd obtained from Scar Tiger. They even included the outer defense layout of Outpost 7. He only wondered if the information was still valid. We're heading upward. Lin Han nodded and passed the document to Shen Qingyi before turning to glance at Liya. His message was plain. They could continue their alliance or part ways here. Old Zhang. Liya looked toward him, clearly waiting for his call. But the man stared at his empty left sleeve and simply shook his head. You make the call. The train won't be able to circle back for some time. Very well. We'll go upward too. We might even scavenge some supplies along the way. Liya gritted her teeth and made her final decision. Her group of 6 was in a fragile state. Old Zhang was disabled. Cui Lu was traumatized by the mimics, and the remaining 3 all carried wounds. If they split off from Lin Han's party, she doubted they could fend off an attack by the mimics. A vague sense of unease gnawed at Liya, as if some great disaster loomed on the horizon. Don't worry. I may be rank professional. If danger strikes, I'll be the first to charge forward. Knowing her side was the weaker party, Leah was desperate to ensure Lin Han would not abandon them as they evacuated with old Zhang's group. There's no need to go that far. Think of it as forging an alliance. Lin Han waved a hand. From what he had seen so far, Leah was reasonably trustworthy. If he planned to cooperate extensively with the Miners' Brotherhood later on, she would prove to be a valuable contact. Once they reached an agreement, Lin Han added Leah to the combat team. The other members of the Miners' Brotherhood possessed modest strength, but they stood little chance against mimics. He assigned them to the rear search unit instead. Brother Lin, a sense of dread keeps nagging at me. Leah's mind felt restless. The last time I felt this way was when we traded with the Bloodwolf Gang scum. You've dealt with the Bloodwolf Gang? Lin Han, who had seemed indifferent a moment earlier, immediately perked up. Yeah, they're nothing but shameless villains. We agreed on a supply exchange, but when we arrived, they attacked us without hesitation and tried to rob everything. If we hadn't prepared for an ambush ahead of time, we would have lost all our goods that day. Leah seethed as she recounted the incident. If only she knew where the Bloodwolf Gang's base was, she would wipe them all out. Lin Han listened and asked occasional questions. Through Li Ya's furious account, he learned the general truth about the Bloodwolf Gang. The gang was a band of outlaws. They robbed survivor trains and even the major factions in the surrounding region. Worse still, members of the Bloodwolf Gang frequently turned on and slaughtered one another. It's the Mimic. The Mimic. Just as Lin Han was about to press for more details, a scream of despair erupted from the rear of the formation. Lin Han recognized the voice instantly. It belonged to Cui Lu, the woman terrified of opening the gate. What's happening? Panic rippled through the group, and Lin Han's expression darkened instantly. I don't know. The mechanical hounds detected no abnormal heat signatures. Xia Kersen looked flustered. This sudden crisis was entirely outside her expectations. It can evade thermal scanning. For mechanical hounds surrounded the group, covering every angle. Yet Xia Kersen had found no sign of an intruder. A terrifying possibility crossed her mind at once. No, it's been hiding among us this whole time. Leah realized the truth belatedly. Wang Qian. It's Wang Qian. Before Leah finished speaking, Lin Han was already sprinting toward the rear of the group. In that instant, he finally understood what had felt strange all along. Mimics were constantly evolving. At first, they only copied appearances. Next, physical stamina. Then they began replicating fragments of professionals' abilities. By now, the two remaining mimics had advanced far enough to mask their thermal signatures to match ordinary humans. That was why the mechanical hounds' thermal scans failed to detect them. The mimics were evolving, growing ever closer to true humans. Compared to the first pair they encountered, this mimic hiding within their ranks possessed far greater intelligence. It had restrained itself, laid low, and continued to evolve. A sudden thought flashed through Lin Han's mind. The longer it stays among humans, the stronger its powers of mimicry become. Watch your surroundings. The other mimic must be waiting for a chance to slip into our group. If its only goal was slaughter, the creature had countless opportunities to strike earlier. The fact it chose to attack now made its motive clear to Lin Han. So I've been found out, have I? Unlike the terse three-word sentences it spoke in the cable room, the mimic's speech flowed far more smoothly now. If this woman hadn't interfered, I could have killed many more. The mimic roared. It had believed that after staying alongside Cui Lu for so long inside the cable chamber, no one would suspect it. Yet Cui Lu spotted its unnatural traits and scrambled backward in fright. Xing Lu and Chun Hong, who stood nearby, never saw the threat coming and died at the mimic's hands. Fall back. Don't let the other one sneak in. Lin Han shouted to Lin Wire and the others. Mingyao, stay clear of the mimic and heal the rest of the group. Using healing skills to identify mimics was no longer a viable tactic. Back in the cable room, on Lin Han's orders, Zhao Mingyao had cast her abilities on old Zhang's trio, yet no abnormalities surfaced. Now he could only place healing buffs on everyone in advance to prevent the other mimic from infiltrating the formation. Die. At that moment, the second mimic, which had been clinging stealthily to the ceiling, leaped down and crashed straight toward Lin Han. Lin Han sensed the impending danger and rolled aside to dodge. So you must be the other one. Lin Han felt a chill run down his spine at the sudden assault. According to his deductions, even if mimics could fake human body temperature, they should not be able to evade the mechanical hounds entirely. Unless this mimic could regulate its body temperature to match its surroundings. That's our captain's skill, Shadow Slay. Shadow Slay boasts formidable concealment effects. Much like a chameleon, it lets the user blend into the environment, and actively adjust internal body temperature to evade standard thermal scans. Leah trembled. Staring at the mimic's form, she relived the memory of her captain murdering her companions. I'll handle this one. Go protect the others. Lin Han called out to stop Leah, who had grabbed a modified hydraulic cutter and charged forward, consumed by rage. Xia Kursen's mechanical hounds could kill mimics, but only if heavy firepower was available. This was different from when they rescued Leah. They were trapped inside a narrow corridor. Heavy ordnance risked killing their own allies before striking the mimic. Old Zhang was a professional capable of shaping his hands into bladed weapons, but with one arm severed, he could barely defend himself. Shun Qingyi wielded a crossbow. She could fight effectively from a distance, yet close quarters melee put her at severe risk of accidentally wounding teammates. Lin Wire and Zhao Mingyao were support, focused. As for the rest, avoiding mistakes would be achievement enough. Wire, cast your enhancement on me. Lin Han gripped his twin axes, resolved to eliminate the mimic before turning to aid the others. Just then, he caught sight of the mimic that had taken Wang Qian's form. Its features twisted and shifted, transforming into another person entirely. Immediately afterward, its arms swelled massively, and thick rocky plating spread across its skin. Damn, it's trying to split our group apart. Lin Han exclaimed. Boom. The mimic slammed its fists repeatedly against the corridor structure. A resonant rumble echoed out. The walkway collapsed, and most of the party failed to dodge in time, plummeting downward. Lin Han's heart lurched. If the group was separated, their situation would turn dire. He worried most about Su Qian and Zhou Ruodong. They were ordinary humans, and if they encountered a mimic alone, they stood no chance of survival. Farewell. Seeing the corridor collapse, the mimic fighting Lin Han turned without hesitation and jumped into the pit. Damn it! Lin Han leaped after it. He saw Xia Kursen and Leah leading one mechanical hound to clear a path ahead, while the remaining three stayed beside Shun Qingyi at the rear, holding off the pursuing mimic. This mimic possessed vastly enhanced defenses. Armor, piercing rounds that once wounded mimics left not even a mark on its flesh. Grenades might injure it, but the blast radius risked bringing the entire floor down. The crossbow bolts can pierce its armor. If we keep wearing it down, we might eventually kill it. Lin Han felt marginally relieved seeing Shun Qingyi land effective hits. His gaze then shifted coldly towards Su Qian, standing a short distance away. Still trying to trick me? Lin Han raised his twin axes to strike, but Su Qian stumbled backward and pointed toward the ceiling. Lin Han, it's above you. Lin Han narrowed his eyes. He swung one fireman's axe, sending it spinning upward. Squelch. The fourth search team's captain clearly lacked strong defensive abilities. Without the benefit of the mimic's defensive transformations, the axe struck home easily. Arg! The mimic let out a shriek and fled into the distance as a dark blur. Lin Han, hold your blow. I'm really Su Qian. Su Qian collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. She feared Lin Han would mistake her for a mimic and strike without hesitation. Why are you here? Lin Han frowned. He had not spotted Su Qian among the group that fell earlier. He stepped closer and detected lingering traces of Zhao Mingyao's healing energy on her body. Only then did he relax his guard. Just rotten luck. Su Qian looked dejected. They had all fallen together, yet she landed directly behind the mimic. From their conversation, Lin Han learned that Shun Qingyi's group had been steadily retreating to draw the mimic's attention and keep it away from Su Qian. We'll rest briefly before going to find them. Lin Han scanned their surroundings. The mimic disguised as Wang Qian was still chasing Shun Qingyi's party, and they had no idea where the others had fled. On top of that, Su Qian was a civilian. She had fallen from a higher floor, and bruising marked her arm where rubble struck her. Her condition was far from stable. That way is an infirmary. I saw medical supplies inside. Su Qian gestured toward a nearby room. She knew full well she was nothing but a liability right now. If only I could awaken a professional class too. She longed to form a bond with Lin Han, yet danger lurked everywhere. This was hardly the right moment. We can stock up on medicine. Lin Han muttered to himself. After Zhao Mingyao awakened her abilities, he had overlooked the need for medical supplies. This brutal ambush made him realize regular first aid items were essential. If the group was split again amid battle, supplies would prevent them from being trapped by injuries. Clang. A lock secured the infirmary door. Lin Han wasted no time and cleaved the door open with his axe. Outside, he had peered through the bulletproof glass and taken stock of the room. 2 hospital beds, a large medicine cabinet, and several withered potted plants. A transparent sliding door stood at the far end, leading to what looked like a dispensary. Strangely, more potted plants surrounded the sink in that back section. Cough, cough. As soon as Su Qian stepped inside, She covered her nose and coughed. What's wrong? Lin Han moved quickly, locating the wound dressings they needed within a matter of breaths. Su Qian's cheeks flushed. The air smells strange. Lin Han, I feel uneasy about this place. Could it be those withered plants? Lin Han stared past the sliding glass door. The infirmary was plain to see, and the only unusual feature was the potted plants beside the sink. Lin Han, I feel so overheated. Su Qian's body grew unbearably warm, and her mind began to grow hazy. Is this poison? Lin Han quickly assessed Su Qian's symptoms. He was certain this was not a simple fever. Lin Han, I can barely stand the discomfort. The flush spread across Su Qian's face and crept down her neck. Her eyes grew unfocused, tinted a strange crimson. Her breathing turned rapid and erratic beyond her control. The toxin's effects were far more severe than Lin Han anticipated. He too was starting to feel its influence, a scorching heat building in his core, threatening to cloud his rationality. Lie down first. I'll check if those plants are the source. Lin Han fought against the rising dizziness and helped Su Qian onto one of the hospital beds. Don't leave me. Don't abandon me, Lin Han. Su Qian's consciousness faded rapidly. Her words slurred, and she breathed in ragged gasps. Her eyes blurred with mist. Lin Han had already pulled open the glass sliding door and raised his axe to hack at the potted plants. Both the plants were long withered. Chopping them into fragments elicited no reaction, yet the motion stirred up a thick cloud of fine dust. Cough. Lin Han inhaled a mouthful of dust by surprise. Abnormal sensations washed over him instantly, and his vision began to blur. He realized the toxin originated from dormant spores released by the dead potted plants. Water rushed from the faucet. Though the plants were already withered, he hacked them completely to pieces while he still retained his senses and washed all the remnants down the drain. Bang! In his impaired state, he welded the main entrance shut to block the mimic if it returned to hunt them. Once the task was done, Lin Han's strength deserted him, and he sank to the floor. I need your help. By this time, Su Qian had climbed off the bed without him noticing. She stepped behind Lin Han, wrapped her arms around his neck, and clung tightly to him. Ding! Special quest activated. Detected eligible target in close proximity. Bond prerequisites fulfilled. Completing the bond grants a premium reward. We should move to the bed. If he hadn't breathed in the spored dust cloud, Lin Han's physical resilience would have let him resist the toxin. Now, however, even his enhanced physique struggled to hold on. After a long stretch of time, both of them slowly regained clarity of mind. Ding! Congratulations on completing the bond quest. Reward acquired. Talent Blood Resonance. Blood Resonance allows you to sense all bonded partners within short range and moderately boost coordination during combat with them. Your bonded partner Su Qian has awakened the professional class, Shadow Puppeteer. Blood Resonance? This was an exceptional ability. Lin Han had been worrying how to track down Shen Qingyi and the others. With Blood Resonance active, he could faintly sense the general direction of his allies. Yet his perception told him their situation remained dire. Shen Qingyi's group had been scattered once more, trapped in several separate locations. Cough. Haven't you fully recovered from the toxin yet? Lin Han glanced at Su Qian, who still looked flushed as she rested her hands on his chest. They had already lost too much time. Logically, the poison should have run its course for Su Qian now that he had recovered. Not quite yet. Su Qian grew flustered under his gaze, turned her head away shyly, and leaned gently against him. Lin Han. She clearly wanted to linger longer. Stop distracting me. Our top priority is to reunite with the others. Lin Han scrambled to his feet. The cold floor was no place to stay. Lin Han, I've awakened my professional class too. A rank shadow puppeteer. I only have 2 skills for now. Su Qian smiled playfully at being found out and told him about the system reward. Lin Han, is it a control-type class? If we use gaming terminology, I'm basically the frontline tank, Su Qian explained as she looked over her only 2 available skills. My active skill is Shadow Warden. By expending a monster core as a medium, I can permanently summon a warden from my own shadow. The warden has a maximum activity radius of 5 meters. It can hide inside my shadow normally, but once defeated, I need another monster core to summon it again. The other ability is a passive skill called Puppetry. It cuts all damage I take in half. If the Shadow Warden is active, 70% of that remaining damage gets transferred to the warden instead. Combining these 2 abilities, the actual damage Su Qian herself sustains only amounts to 15% of the original hit. She was a natural frontliner. With Zhao Mingyao's healing support on top of that, it would be incredibly difficult for her to fall. Do you have any cores left? You can summon your warden right now. After the team split up, Nearly all the task of scavenging basic supplies fell to the search group. Lin Han's class did not require monster cores, so he had none on hand. I have two. Su Qian nodded upon hearing this. She immediately activated her summoning skill. A pitch black figure, its silhouette mirroring Su Qian's own, slowly rose from the shadow beneath her feet, the Shadow Warden. I can sense Xia Kersen nearby. Let's link up with her first. Having the mechanical hounds will make searching for others much easier. Moments later, guided by his bloodline sense, Lin Han located Xia Kersen. Zhou Ruotong was with her as well. Lin Han, we got separated from Xinxingyi's group. They should be safe for now, but the mechanical hound I left with them was completely destroyed. My new hounds still haven't found their hiding spot, Xia Kersen said, sounding frustrated. With the hound gone, she'd lost all contact and only knew their general direction. Keep one hound here. Send the rest upstairs to search. I can roughly pinpoint their location with my senses. Su Qian has awakened her class now. Our defensive strength is more than enough. Seeing Xia Kersen's look of surprise, Lin Han offered a brief explanation. When did the two of you manage that? Zhou Ruotong glanced at Su Qian, who looked energized and clung tightly to Lin Han's arm. She stared in complete shock. It seemed she was the only one left without any special powers. Ahem, we were poisoned. We had no other choice, Su Qian said, her cheeks flushing. Lin Han rolled his eyes. She conveniently left out everything that happened after the toxin wore off. All of a sudden, Lin Han's bloodline perception alerted him that Xinxingyi's group was moving rapidly. Hurry. If I'm not wrong, the seniors are being hunted by an imitator. The mechanical hound spotted Lin Wire. No, it's an imposter. It's the one from the cable chamber. Xia Kersen pulled back her dispersed spiritual sense, her hopeful expression hardening instantly. Can you hold it off? Don't let it escape. With that, Lin Han grabbed a fire axe and charged toward the direction Xia Kersen indicated. I'll do my best. Xia Kersen shifted most of her focus to controlling that mechanical hound. The previous destroyed hound had been taken out by this very same imitator from the cable chamber. You won't get away this time. It took Lin Han only a short while to reach the imitator. The monster was wearing Zhang's face, which explained how Xia Kersen had seen through its disguise so quickly. Whoosh! Lin Han did not hesitate. He hurled the fire axe straight at the imitator, throwing himself into combat immediately. Under these circumstances, his passive skill bloodbath was largely useless. He needed to buy time to stack battle fervor. You are strong, the imitator muttered. Its hands morphed into sharp blades as it lunged straight for Lin Han. It seems you can only fully mimic people you've spent a long time around. Lin Han stood his ground instead of dodging, meeting the attack head-on with his axe. Berserk blood rage boosted his damage threefold. He had no reason to back down. Boom. Metal clashed against metal. Lin Han stumbled back 3 steps while the imitator went flying. Mid-air, it shifted into a spider-like form and clung to the ceiling. Rat-a-tat-tat. After that single exchange, Xia Kersen and the others arrived. Empowered by bloodline resonance, the mechanical hounds could aim around Lin Han without hitting him. The armor. Piercing rounds could not land fatal blows, but they stung terribly. The imitator shrieked and plummeted from above. Leave 2 hounds to force it into position. Send the rest upstairs to back up the seniors. This imitator was their biggest threat. If they eliminated it, the remaining monster would pose little danger. You won't reach them, the imitator roared, trying to intercept the 2 hounds heading upward. After prolonged observation, it had grown intelligent enough to understand that these mechanical hounds shared information with one another. It had worked so hard to split their group apart. It would not allow Lin Han's team to reunite. Think you can stop me? Lin Han shouted and charged forward. His icy fire axe sank deep into the imitator's back, bursting a mass of bluish, red viscous fluid. Even its blood is slowly turning human. Lin Han let out a cold laugh. With berserk blood rage stacked alongside battle fervor, his attacks far outmatched the imitator's defenses, especially with the monster caught off guard. You seek death. The imitator screeched, slashing its blade limbs toward Lin Han. Its wounds healed rapidly, yet its aura noticeably weakened. Whoosh! Lin Han leaped sideways, perfectly evading the strike. Seizing the opening, the mechanical hounds behind him unleashed full firepower, all rounds slamming into the imitator. Without bloodline resonance, such seamless coordinated attacks would have been nearly impossible before. Sizzle! The imitator was still reeling from the hound's armor, piercing shots, and could not recover in time. Lin Han saw the perfect chance and struck repeatedly with both axes. It was not long before this deeply hidden imitator fell, slain by Lin Han's relentless assault. At several points during the fight, The monster attempted to ambush Zhou Ruodong and the others, yet every attack was blocked by Su Qian's Shadow Warden. It looks like once we level up, the Shadow Warden won't be limited purely to defense anymore. Lin Han watched clearly as the Warden conjured 2 black spires to strike while fending off the imitator. Its damage output remained low for now, weaker even than the Hound's armor, piercing ammunition. Lin Han, my mechanical hounds found them. But there's no sign of the second imitator. Xia Kersen received a transmission and continued. All our people are accounted for. Boom. As they talked, a massive explosion shook the building. The upper level collapsed, sealing off the staircase leading up from their floor. What just happened? Su Qian exclaimed in alarm. Fall back outside first. We'll figure out our next move afterward. Lin Han reached a quick decision. The floor they stood on was unstable and at risk of full collapse. Xia Kersen, send some mechanical hounds to guide the seniors toward an escape route. If possible, try to lure the last remaining imitator outside. Fighting inside the control tower severely restricted the hounds. They dared not deploy heavy weaponry freely indoors. Shen Qingyi's group linked up with the Miners' Brotherhood survivors, but Zhang is not with them. Lin Han learned this news from Xia Kersen once they retreated to the open ground outside. To cover 2 others' escape, Zhang carried explosives and sacrificed himself alongside the last imitator. That must have been the explosion we heard. Xia Kersen finished and fell silent. Lin Han asked, is he dead? Nothing remained of him. Leah confirmed it personally. Right after Xia Kersen spoke, the dispatched mechanical hounds crawled out from beneath the control tower, followed by Shen Qingyi and the rest. Thanks to Zhao Mingyao's healing, no one sustained severe injuries, yet every person appeared exhausted, clearly worn out from the desperate chase. Brother Lin, Zhang handed this to me before the end. It might be useful to all of us. Leah's expression was hollow, as if she had lost all will to live. The entire 3rd search team had perished, their captain killed, and now Zhang as well. Of all the Miners' Brotherhood members dispatched here, only she and Cui Lu remained. Cui Lu's mental state had deteriorated badly, and Leah herself was barely holding on. The only radio capable of contacting their train had been destroyed by the imitator long ago. Leah had lost contact with their convoy for a long stretch. The Brotherhood camp most likely assumed both search teams were dead and would not waste resources sending the train back for them. A blueprint. Lin Han took the parchment scroll from Leah's hands. It was a hand-drawn sketch of the control tower's underground layout. Alongside the chamber holding the captive imitators, several crudely drawn safe escape routes marked the map. Zhang must have drawn these while trapped inside the cable chamber. It was clear they had exhausted every possible idea to survive back then. In addition, a blood-red wolf's head symbol was sketched onto the parchment, likely signifying something important. Lin Han rolled up the scroll. This was not the time to examine it closely. Is everyone who survived here present? Though he asked, Lin Han already suspected anyone who had not escaped would never emerge again. Let's head to the safe campsite outside the control tower to rest for the time being. We can discuss what comes next afterward. Every gaze turned toward him, and Lin Han made his decision immediately. Inside the safe campsite, Lin Han sat beside a table, staring at the parchment Zhang had left behind. He muttered quietly while tracing markings on the map. Lin Han, what's your plan going forward? Shen Qingyi walked over just then. Dim lamplight fell across the parchment, lending it an ancient, weathered look. Seniors, look here. This is the cable chamber, where the imitators were held and where Zhang was trapped later. Lin Han tapped the marking for the cable chamber with his finger before circling a wider area on the scroll. This entire section belongs to underground level 2. Huge stretches have never been explored by us. In other words, those areas are likely untouched. If we can map them out, we'll find a great deal of supplies. Lin Han's eyes lit up. He wished he could haul every valuable resource out of the underground levels. Lin Han, what catches my attention is this spot instead. Shen Qingyi nodded as she listened, then suddenly pointed excitedly to another marking. It showed a symbol representing a warehouse. If any place holds abundant supplies, it's a warehouse. Lin Han, if this warehouse hasn't been looted yet, we'll strike it extremely lucky. With any fortune, we might even find the train's upgrade blueprint here. Lin Han blinked in surprise. He had been focusing entirely on the area surrounding the cable chamber and failed to notice there was another level directly below it. The warehouse Shen Qingyi mentioned sat on underground level 3. We only need one more blueprint to fully upgrade the train. Shen Qingyi oversaw all logistics and supplies for their locomotive. She knew their inventory situation perfectly. Upgrade blueprints were incredibly rare. If they missed this opportunity, they had no idea where they would find a Tier 4 blueprint next. The cable chamber held captive imitators, and danger surely lurks everywhere else underground. Underground Level 3 might well have become a monster nest. Leah overheard their conversation and spoke up with caution. The Miners' Brotherhood had already lost 2 full search teams in this cursed location. Lin Han's group had saved her life, and Leah did not want to see them risk their lives chasing uncertain resources. Opportunity always walks hand in hand with danger. We won't get valuable loot if we refuse to take risks. Though he said this, Lin Han understood better than anyone that charging blindly into exploration with their current team would be reckless and unprofitable. We will explore these areas eventually, but not right now. We need to redraw our route and stay alert for unknown new types of monsters. We faced shape-shifting imitators and toxic mutated plants on this mission. This world holds far more threats than simple zombies alone. If we venture deep underground, we must craft a thorough plan first. One critical factor weighed on his mind above everything else. Time was running out. The dark tide was approaching fast. If they delayed until it arrived, escape would no longer be possible. We're preparing to pull out. Lin Han folded the parchment away, resolving to return another day to explore the uncharted underground zones. He then turned toward Leah. He had sensed she wanted to say something even before they reached the campsite. Brother Lin, could you escort us? The radio to contact the train is destroyed. After all this time without communication, they probably think all of us are dead. Sure enough, after a short hesitation, Leah voiced her request. From her explanation, Lin Han understood that the Miners' Brotherhood train was very unlikely to turn back. If Lin Han refused, she and Chui Lu would be stranded here, doomed to die slowly. No problem. Lin Han agreed without the slightest hesitation. He had grown to respect Leah over their time traveling together. More importantly, if Leah made it safely back to her faction, she would become a valuable ally for future cooperation between Lin Han's group and the Miners' Brotherhood. We're finally back. Zhou Ruodong fully relaxed once they boarded the train, collapsing onto her bunk without the desire to move. This operation had been their most dangerous mission yet. A single misstep could have cost them their lives. Originally, Zhou Ruodong and Su Qian had been the two staying safely out of the frontline fighting. But Su Qian had quietly formed a special bond with Lin Han without telling her. Now Zhou Ruodong was the only ordinary human left in the whole team. Thinking about this, she walked over to Su Qian and poked her waist with a hint of resentment. How does it feel to keep such a big secret from all of us? Are you tempted? Why not give it a shot right now? Su Qian teased, nudging Zhou Ruodong toward the driver's cabin. What are you talking about? Zhou Ruodong flushed bright red, burying her face into the mattress. Watching everyone around her gradually form bonds with Lin Han, she felt anxious yet hesitant. The idea of undergoing such a connection filled her with nervous uncertainty. Thud! Suddenly, the train shuddered violently as if struck by some outside force. What's happening? Sensing trouble, everyone rushed toward the front driver's cabin. With Leah's assistance, Lin Han quickly confirmed their navigation heading. They should reach the Miners' Brotherhood outpost before long. But this unexpected disruption blocked their path. Ice storm. Through the observation window, Leah quickly identified what lay ahead. A massive white tornado surged forward like an unstoppable mammoth. It tore every object in its path from the ground and swept them high into the air. The train is slowing down. Lin Han's expression darkened. This was terrible news. The dark tide still pursued them closely. If their speed continued to drop, even if they evaded the tide, they would have very little time to resupply at the next stop. Can we find a way to bypass the ice storm? Lin Han turned to Leah. None of them had experience dealing with extreme weather events like this. I know one possible method. Leah took a deep breath. Even she could not be certain whether taking that route was wise. Lin Han said, whatever concerns you have, speak freely. Look here. Leah hesitated briefly before making up her mind and pointing to the frozen canyon marked on the map. Isn't that where the ice storm originated? Shen Qingyi frowned as realization dawned on her. If we reroute to circle around, we can avoid the storm entirely, and the train can pick up speed again. Then we take the detour. Lin Han made the call at once. Leah's expression turned grim. There is another hazard if we travel through Frozen Canyon. The Blood Wolf Gang? Lin Han murmured. He did not expect the threat Leah mentioned to be old foes of theirs. Frozen Canyon serves as a vital transportation choke point. Many trains pass through here. As I told you before, the Blood Wolf Gang are ruthless bandits who rob, burn, and kill without mercy. We avoided this route earlier because I received word that a Blood Wolf Gang patrol operates in this area. Leah fell silent after finishing her report. She had shared all available intelligence, and the final decision rested with Lin Han. We take the canyon route. After a moment's thought, Lin Han settled on the plan. The ice storm had just swept out of the canyon, so the Blood Wolf gang could not maintain a permanent blockade there. No one raised any objections. Lin Han adjusted the train's direction, and the locomotive raced toward Frozen Canyon. Shortly afterward, they exited the ice storm's radius, and their speed immediately increased. The journey remained calm, and the train safely entered the canyon. Frozen Canyon truly was a critical transport hub. Through the observation window, Lin Han saw dozens of parallel tracks built to accommodate multiple trains at once. It was easy to understand why the Blood Wolf gang chose this place to stage ambushes. Shortly after Lin Han's train entered the canyon, a second locomotive marked with a blood red wolf head totem emerged at the canyon entrance. It belonged to the Blood Wolf gang. Ugh, rotten luck, this sudden ice storm. Boss, another train just passed through here. It shouldn't be far ahead inside the canyon. What are we waiting for? Accelerate and catch up. When the gang leader Zheng Long heard his subordinate's report, he forgot his complaints and grew excited. At full throttle, the Blood Wolf Express followed the tracks and quickly closed the gap behind Lin Han's Tundra train. Boss, this target won't be easy prey. Our train system scanned signs that this locomotive destroyed members of our gang previously. Humph. We are always the ones doing the robbing. Chase them down and teach them a lesson. Standard orders. Capture all women alive, kill everyone else and dispose of the bodies. Zheng Long showed no trace of fear and roared to rally his crew. Meanwhile, Lin Han's group spotted the rapidly approaching Blood Wolf Express. It's the Blood Wolf gang's train. They're catching up fast. Lia's expression shifted. It was clear the enemy locomotive was targeting them. Should we accelerate? Shen Qingyi asked. Not yet. Fire a warning shot with our onboard weapons first. Traveling at maximum speed burned enormous amounts of fuel. Lin Han preferred to avoid it, unless lives were directly at risk. Besides, they were already enemies with the Blood Wolf gang and would face repeated ambushes sooner or later. This was a good opportunity to let everyone grow accustomed to sudden combat. Understood. I'll man the weapons, Xia Kersen nodded. After modifications, the train's firepower grid was formidable. Boom. A cannon blast detonated not far beside the Blood Wolf Express. They dare to fight back? Zheng Long sneered and ordered his crew to activate defensive countermeasures. He maneuvered his train alongside the Tundra train. Men, prepare for boarding combat. On Zheng Long's command, a heavy metal plate extended outward from the side of the Blood Wolf Express and locked onto Lin Han's train, forming a connecting bridge. This is a custom modification, no good. They're going to board our train, Lia gasped, immediately seeing Zheng Long's plan. Stay here and keep the train steady. Combat team, follow me to hold the boarding point. Lin Han issued sharp orders and rushed toward the makeshift connecting bridge with his fighters. Women. There are women over there. The Blood Wolf gang members' eyes lit up with greed as they spotted the opposing group. Daring to rob us means you've prepared to pay with your lives. Without a word, Lin Han grabbed 2 fire axes, activated Berserk Blood Rage, and charged straight forward. Kill this brat. The women aboard that train will all be ours. At the shout, lackeys from the Blood Wolf brandished blades and clubs, swarming toward Lin Han. Xia Kersen, prioritize intercepting enemies who haven't emerged. Trap them inside the Blood Wolf. Senior, provide long-range cover. Try to stop too many foes from closing in on me. Wire, Mengyao, cast all enhancements and heals on me. Lin Han issued clear orders, instantly laying out a complete battle plan. Stacked with multiple buffs, Lin Han's strength far outmatched these thugs. Arg! A scream rang out. Lin Han's fire axe swung toward one bandit. Blocked by Shen Qingyi's arrows, the man had nowhere to run and died on the spot. Something's wrong. How can this kid be so powerful? Seeing their comrade eliminated in an instant, the rest of the Blood Wolf gang fell into panic. What are you scared of? No matter how strong he is, he's only one man. He can't fight forever. He'll run out of stamina eventually. The robbers gritted their teeth and charged once more. Unfortunately for them, Lin Han truly grew stronger as the fight dragged on. His burning battle spirit passive meant the longer the battle lasted, the greater his advantage. As for injuries, he need not worry. With fight to the last and Zhao Mingyao's healing, Lin Han stayed at full health no matter how recklessly he fought. Even if the Blood Wolf gang tried to gang up on him, they first had to get past Xia Kersen and Shen Qingyi. Squelch. Cold light flashed, and another bandit fell beneath Lin Han's axe. Retreat. We can't handle this guy. Terrified by Lin Han's surging aura, the Blood Wolf lackeys scrambled backward and fled into the Blood Wolf. We've won. Shen Qingyi breathed a sigh of relief as the enemies pulled back. She had always believed in Lin Han's strength. Don't celebrate just yet. If I remember correctly, our tracks will intersect with the Blood Wolf's up ahead at the exit. Leah walked over at that moment. She spoke, waiting for Lin Han's next command. They could either speed up or slow down to avoid a collision. Xia Kursen, how durable is the Tundra train's collision protection? It was obvious Lin Han had no intention of evading the crash. We can clash head-on with the enemy without sustaining any damage to the hull. Xia Kursen oversaw all later modifications to the Tundra train. She had reinforced the hull long ago, anticipating exactly this kind of scenario. Then let's ram them. Lin Han had no intention of letting them get away easily. More importantly, if they pulled away, the Blood Wolf might switch tracks and follow the same route. That would leave them hounded by trouble for the rest of their journey. Lin Han wasted no time adjusting the train's speed, matching pace steadily alongside the Blood Wolf. Honk moments later, the view opened wide. They had fully exited the frozen canyon. The fork lies ahead. Inside the cockpit, Leah pointed at the holographic map, marking their exact position. 3, 2, 1. Accelerate. At Lin Han's command, the Tundra train surged forward like an unstoppable tiger, forcing the Blood Wolf onto a separate track. Boom. The two trains veered apart. The Tundra train emerged unscathed, while a massive dent crumpled the impacted section of the Blood Wolf. Scans confirmed zero structural damage to our train. Following the collision, Xia Kursen ran the scanner over the train after a thorough inspection. That's a relief. Lin Han relaxed upon hearing the news and turned to head back to the cockpit. Is this the Mirror Ice Lake? Through the observation window, Lin Han took in the surrounding landscape. The terrain stretched endlessly, perfectly flat without a single rise or dip. Seen from above, it resembled a giant polished mirror. No wonder it bore the name Mirror Ice Lake. Rail tracks ran atop the ice sheet. Beneath the thick ice lay open water, shimmering deep blue beneath sunlight refraction. Lin Han, we face a serious problem. Shen Qingyi stepped to his side, heavy worry etched across her face. What is it? Lin Han frowned. The battle with the Blood Wolf gang cost us precious time. The black tide behind us has advanced much further. Our earlier projections are invalid. Recalculations show the black tide will overtake us before we reach the next stronghold. Shen Qingyi handed him a detailed data report. At our current speed, how long until the black tide catches up? Lin Han took the document and scanned it closely as he asked. Updated estimates give the black tide a 5 to 10 minute lead before we arrive at the next outpost. That is an extremely dangerous margin. Though tense, Shen Qingyi maintained her composure. She knew that besides Lin Han, she was second in command aboard the train. Panic was not an option under any circumstances. I've observed the mirror ice plain. Water lies beneath the ice. If we blast an opening, we can temporarily hold back the black tide. Lin Han tapped his fingers against the control console, closed his eyes to think, then spoke slowly. You've come up with a plan? Shen Qingyi stared in surprise. Breaking open the thick ice sheet would demand massive amounts of explosives. They possessed plenty of ordnance, but the biggest hurdle was lacking a proper delivery vessel. The train raced forward at high speed, making it impossible to stop and manually plant bombs across the ice plain. Clear out the final carriage. Lin Han sighed and delivered his final decision. Lin Han, you can't possibly mean? Shock washed over Shen Qingyi. She instantly realized his plan and gasped. They had always possessed a container for the explosives, a train carriage. The carriage held ample space to store all their munitions. With precisely timed fuses, it could blast a massive fracture across the mirror ice plain once detached. The catch was that they would lose an entire carriage. Get started. Be ready to jettison it at any moment. Seeing Shen Qingyi grasp his idea, Lin Han said no more and waved her off to prepare. Shen Qingyi parted her lips to argue, yet she fell silent in the end. Sacrificing the rear carriage was a bitter necessity, yet their best available option. Brother Lin, I've made a new discovery. Leah suddenly called out excitedly. She pulled up the holographic map and pointed to a spot on the mirror ice plain. My internal communication system just picked up a transport signal belonging to the Miners' Brotherhood. Signal patterns indicate its supply transport 77. Leah pulled up all relevant data. Is this transport traveling along our track? Lin Han raised an eyebrow, instantly intrigued. No. Leah shook her head and continued. But this supply vehicle has stopped not far ahead, and its path intersects with ours. One thing strikes me as strange, though. The transport has remained stationary without moving an inch. Confusion lingered in Leah's tone, outweighed by excitement. Good. I'll adjust our heading to draw closer. Lin Han immediately operated the controls. Soon after, the Tundra train neared the stationary supply transport. Whoosh. Leah fired a signal flare. This flare belonged exclusively to the Miners' Brotherhood. Any member who spotted it would recognize the distress signal sent by allies. Lin Han and the others waited, yet nothing happened. The supply transport stayed motionless, offering no response whatsoever. Something feels off. Lin Han frowned. The transport was far too quiet. Could everyone aboard already be dead? Li Ya's excitement faded completely, anxiety spreading across her features. What should we do? Xia Kursen asked. They could not linger here indefinitely, not with the black tide closing in. Extend the carriage connecting plate. We will go investigate. After brief thought, Lin Han reached a decision. The transport's strange stillness implied trouble had almost certainly struck its crew. Creek following Lin Han's order, Xia Kursen activated the machinery. Defensive steel panels slid out from the train's left side, extending into a stable walkway toward the supply transport. Xia Kursen, the connecting plate has locked onto their window. We can board their transport anytime. Li Ya, Su Qian, Zhao Mingyao, you three come with me. Lin Han stepped onto the connecting plate. Their mission was reconnaissance, so a small team sufficed. Senior, command the train in our absence. After briefing Shen Qingyi, Lin Han led the three others onto the supply transport. Check the cockpit first. Lin Han gripped his two fire axes, ready to defend against sudden ambushes. Meanwhile, Su Qian's shadow guardians emerged from her shadow, surrounding the group as protection. Empty. Stepping into the cockpit, Li Ya found nobody inside, her spirits sinking. The door is locked from within, meaning people were here once. Search the other carriages and look for bodies. Lin Han examined the transport door closely, tightened his grip on his axes, and advanced toward the remaining compartments. Sure enough, they soon discovered two corpses. The two Miners' Brotherhood members had died in identical, eerie fashion. Their skin was pale gray, covered with dense black vein, like markings across their faces, resembling countless tiny writhing insects, a revolting sight. What killed them? Lin Han muttered in confusion. Clearly, neither human attackers nor the black tide had claimed their lives. They appear to have fallen victim to some bizarre toxin. Li Ya arrived in this world earlier than Lin Han and the rest, with far more experience surviving its dangers. The black tide consisted of swarms of monsters. If these two had been killed by it, their bodies would not remain intact. Bite marks would be visible. Death at human hands was equally unlikely. All stored supplies aboard the carriage remained untouched. If raiders from another train had attacked, they would not have left valuable supplies behind. Most importantly, Li Ya and the others found no signs of struggle at the scene. They died silently. Lin Han whispered. The situation was growing increasingly complicated. Does that mean if we figure out the source of the toxin, we can uncover whoever is behind this? Zhao Mingyao asked. Exactly. Search every corner of the carriages, especially shadowy, overlooked spots. Look for any clues. Lin Han nodded at Zhao Mingyao's question and quickly issued new orders. They stood near the cockpit. Moving backward, they could sweep through the entire transport. Sister Li Ya, does the Miners' Brotherhood attach cultivation carriages to supply transports? Su Qian suddenly spoke up, sounding uncertain. Supply transports carry provisions for remote resupply runs. Most pull 2 to 3 cargo carriages, and cultivation carriages are included within that load. Why do you ask? Li Ya replied, confused by the question. I'm not sure if my eyes tricked me. I caught a glimpse of plant life a moment ago, but it vanished when I looked again. Unease stirred within Su Qian. She was certain she had not imagined it. That shouldn't be possible. Even if this transport has a cultivation carriage, it would be at the very rear. Li Ya's expression darkened. Cultivation carriages held vital strategic resources, so transports rarely carried extra ones. This supply transport had 7 carriages total. They occupied the second carriage, the crew rest quarters. The third carriage stored weapons and resources. Logically, no one would place plants inside an armory. Perhaps you imagined it. Li Ya hurried into the third carriage and scanned the space. There was not a single leaf, dead or alive, anywhere. Maybe I'm just on edge. Su Qian had no way to explain what she saw. She had definitely caught a flash of green, something resembling vines. Plants. Su Qian, are you certain you saw vegetation? Lin Han tensed immediately upon hearing this. In this twisted world, animals had mutated into incomprehensible monsters. What about the plants? He had not forgotten their encounter at the abandoned dispatch tower. He and Su Qian had inhaled plant spores and suffered poisoning there. If those potted plants had not withered, could they have gained strange abilities, such as the power to move? Swish. As Lin Han pondered, a thick vine slithered silently behind them like a living serpent. Ambush. Lin Han sensed imminent danger and spun around, witnessing an unbelievable scene. The vine's tip sharpened into a deadly thorn. After being spotted, it accelerated violently, lunging straight for Lin Han's head. Thankfully, Lin Han stayed alert. He swung his fire axe and sliced the vine clean in two. The severed segment went limp and ceased moving. Zhao Mingyao, cast purification on all of us. These strange plants likely release toxins. Now under attack by the vines, Lin Han grew extremely cautious. Unlike the dormant plants in the old medical station, living mutated plants aboard this transport proved far more dangerous opponents. As if confirming Lin Han's warning, the retreating vines held back from further strikes. Instead, a faint green mist spread through the entire carriage. Lin Han, how did you know these plants release poison? Zhao Mingyao stared at him in admiration. His foresight was remarkable. When Su Qian and I searched for medicine inside an abandoned dispatch tower, we encountered similar mutated plants in a medical room. Lin Han told her the full story without holding anything back. That doesn't add up. We weren't attacked back then. Su Qian frowned. They had only suffered poisoning, not direct assaults from mobile vines. Because the potted plants in that medical station were long dead and withered, Lin Han's expression turned grave. These living, strange plants possessed intelligence. They knew how to lie in ambush and deploy poison gas to weaken opponents. Luckily, Zhao Mingyao's purification shield protected them, rendering the toxin completely ineffective. Swish, swish, swish. Realizing their poison failed, the mutated plants unleashed countless sharp vines from every corner of the carriage, forming cold living blades ready to strike. They've abandoned their disguise, haven't they? Lin Han let out a cold snarl and charged forward swinging his axes. Unfortunately, the vines seemed endless. Cutting one only brought more. Lin Han, the air is saturated with conflicting toxins. I cannot sustain purification for much longer. Sweat dotted Zhao Mingyao's forehead soon afterward. Maintaining the spell for extended periods taxed her spirit heavily. Since they had not located the plant's core body, chopping endless vines could not trigger Lin Han's fight to the last passive. Any injuries Lin Han sustained would rely entirely on Zhao Mingyao's healing magic. Supporting 4 people with 2 simultaneous spells was manageable in the short term, yet prolonged strain risked shattering her mental focus. Fall back immediately. Hearing her warning, Lin Han reached a quick decision. Fighting confined inside the carriage put them at a crippling disadvantage. Swish, swish, swish. The mutated plants refused to let them escape. Vines rapidly wove together into a massive net, sealing off their retreat entirely. Su Qian, use your Shadow Guardians to block attacks from the other directions. Leah and I will carve out an escape route. Lin Han roared, hacking through the plant barrier with his fire axe. Move. The vines surged to repair the broken opening. Lin Han delivered another powerful axe blow and shouted urgently to the others behind him. I'll assist you. Leah spun back, wielding a modified hydraulic cutter to help Lin Han tear apart the vine barrier. We're out. Moments later, with support from Lin Han and Leah, the other 2 escaped the mutated plant's encirclement. Retreat to our train first. Mutated vegetation has infested the entire transport. Cutting down these vines alone won't solve anything. As long as the main body survives, more vines will keep sprouting endlessly. Lin Han wore a grim expression. Combat aboard the train was severely restricted by cramped space, and the vines spread everywhere. Worst of all, they still had no clue where the core of these mutated plants was hidden. If the fight dragged on, they would inevitably be overwhelmed. Swoosh. Seeing Lin Han and the others attempt to retreat, the mutated plants tried to block their path, only for all the vines to be sliced apart by Lin Han. Moments later, they successfully escaped from the supply transport vehicle, though all of them looked thoroughly battered. Lin Han, what happened? Xia Kersen, who had been waiting to provide support, grew instantly alert upon seeing their disheveled state. At the first sign of trouble, she would summon her mechanical hounds, ready to unleash concentrated fire on the eerie supply transport. We ran into mutated plants. The 2 men from the Miners' Brotherhood are likely dead at their hands. I still can't figure out how these plants managed to get onto this train. Lin Han spoke with lingering terror. If they hadn't fled quickly, they would have ended up just like the 2 corpses they had discovered. Wait a moment. Just then, Zhao Mingyao suddenly called out to halt Lin Han and the rest, as if she had remembered something crucial. What if these plants weren't originally on the train? Cold sweat broke out across Zhao Mingyao's forehead as she voiced this thought, struck by a terrifying possibility. Spit it out, don't keep us in suspense. Su Qian was growing frantic. She could tell Zhao Mingyao possessed vital information, otherwise she would not be so visibly panicked. I'm saying, what if members of the Miners' Brotherhood brought the mutated plant seeds on board? Zhao Mingyao swallowed hard, her face etched with fear. Then the seeds germinated secretly, triggering this tragedy. This land is bitterly cold. As far as the eye can see lies endless white snow. There is nowhere for green plant life to naturally grow. After pausing to organize her thoughts, Zhao Mingyao laid out her full theory in one breath. That holds merit. These mutated plants possess intelligence. They may have mixed their seeds with toxic gas to infect us. The moment Lin Han reached this deduction, his face turned grave. If his guess proved correct, the four of them were carriers for the plant seeds. Unless they took immediate action, their train would eventually suffer the same fate as the supply transport. Zhao Mingyao, can you still cast purification? Lin Han grabbed her wrist. The safety of everyone aboard the train hung in the balance, and he could not afford carelessness. I can manage it. Though exhausted, Zhao Mingyao understood the gravity of the situation. She had no choice but to push through, otherwise none of them, nor anyone else on the train, would survive. Swoosh. Zhao Mingyao overtaxed her mental power once more to activate purification. Once she finished cleansing every person, her complexion had turned deathly pale. We really were carrying plant seeds on our bodies. Zhao Mingyao trembled and gasped for breath. Back inside the carriage, she had focused only on neutralizing toxins and overlooked the plant spores. Thankfully, they had discovered the threat in time, avoiding catastrophe. It was the only stroke of luck in this ordeal. Su Qian, help her below to rest. Lin Han waved his hand wearily. Zhao Mingyao would likely need 2 to 3 days to fully recover. We can't stay here any longer. The mutated plants had not chased after them once they fled the supply transport, yet Lin Han remained uneasy. He feared that if they lingered, the creatures would launch a sudden attack. Woo! The train whistle blared, and the tundra train set off once again. Lin Han stared at the receding supply transport. It resembled a massive animal trap, sitting silently in the snow. Has even the plant life of this world grown this terrifying? Lin Han murmured quietly. These mutated plants have never appeared before. Perhaps unseen changes are quietly unfolding across the world. Leah looked utterly dejected. She had hoped to find allies, only to encounter an entirely new breed of monster she had never faced. Don't lose heart. The 6th outpost lies ahead. You'll soon reach your destination. Lin Han sighed and offered Leah simple comfort, before shifting his gaze to the map. They were now extremely close to the 6th outpost, the base of the Miners' Brotherhood. I should have checked the omens before we set out. Nothing but misfortune along this journey. Leah let out a bitter laugh. Apart from herself and Chui Lu, every member of the 2 scouting teams dispatched to the abandoned dispatch station had perished. As for supply transport number 77, the vehicle had now become a nest for mutated plants. With their current strength, they could not even attempt to recover the transport. Still, you made it back alive. Shortly afterward, Lin Han pulled the train alongside the 6th outpost and opened the carriage door with a heavy heart. Brother Lin, thank you for protecting me along the way. Leah and Chui Lu stepped down from the train. She regarded Lin Han gratefully. Without him, she would have been killed by the mimics long ago. Truth be told, I still hope to form an alliance with the Miners' Brotherhood. If we can reach an agreement, we could become solid allies. Lin Han stood on the train and sighed softly. Surviving alone in this bizarre world was an immense struggle. Yet compared to endlessly evolving monsters, human hearts were often far more dangerous. If you are truly sincere about this, you can come down and discuss matters in detail with our leader. Leah considered her words carefully and extended an invitation. I'll pass. This is your territory after all. Lin Han shook his head with a bitter smile. Walking blindly into their base would be a reckless gamble. He could not guarantee he would leave alive. Brother Lin, how about this? Wait here. I will report recent events to our leader and see if he is willing to come negotiate with you. Leah could see Lin Han's worries clearly. She hesitated briefly before continuing. Brother Lin, I understand your concerns. Let me speak to our leader and ask if he will come to talk with you. Leah instantly saw Lin Han's hesitation and bit her lip as she spoke. Your leader would come here? Lin Han fell into contemplation. His biggest worry had been venturing into enemy territory. If their leader came to him, that risk would vanish. After weighing all possibilities, Lin Han reached a decision. Contact with the Miners' Brotherhood was inevitable, and he might never get another opportunity like this. He looked toward Leah and nodded. I will trouble you then. No need for formalities, Brother Lin. You saved my life. Without your help, I never would have made it back to the 6th outpost alive. Leah shook her head, waved, and headed toward the train. Wait for my news. Leah departed soon after. Lin Han watched her enter the 6th outpost, then went to gather the other women. He explained that negotiations with the leader of the Miners' Brotherhood might take place here, and asked for their opinions. Inside the train hall, the group sat in a circle. Everyone's expressions turned heavy after hearing Lin Han's plan. Lin Han glanced around at them and spoke. I'm sorry I made this decision without consulting all of you first. The women exchanged glances. In the end, Shun Qingyi stepped forward to speak for everyone. You are the train captain. The choices are yours to make. We will follow your lead without question. Lin Han felt a surge of warmth in his chest. This decision carried significant risk. Even though the talks would happen on their train, the outpost belonged to the Brotherhood. If their leader harbored malicious intentions, all of them would be in grave danger. It was not only Lin Han who would face peril, but every woman aboard the train, which filled him with guilt. Seeming to read Lin Han's thoughts, Lin Wire walked over and patted his arm warmly. Cheer up. You should feel touched by our trust. Lin Han had genuinely been moved a moment before, but rolled his eyes at her playful tone. Still, her light-hearted remark cleared his mind. He nodded and looked over the group again. Thank you for trusting me. Rest assured, if I agreed to this meeting, I am fully prepared to counter any underhanded schemes from their side. He paused, fixing a sharp gaze on Shen Qingyi. Qingyi, I have a task for you. Here is what I need you to do. A few minutes passed. Shen Qingyi stared in surprise once Lin Han finished laying out his arrangements. She did not raise any objections, and turned to look at Su Qian. Su Qian, come with me. The two of them stepped off the train. Lin Han turned to the remaining women. Judging by the time, the visitors would arrive shortly. Get ready. They should be here soon. Understood. All of them nodded, their expressions turning serious. Shortly after they finished preparing, Lia's voice echoed from outside the train. Brother Lin, we've arrived. Lin Han exchanged a glance with the women, then stepped forward to disembark first. As he exited the train, he spotted the group waiting ahead. Besides the familiar Lia, several men stood with her. At the front was a middle-aged man with a square jaw, dressed in a thick fur coat. A cigar was clamped between his teeth, and every finger bore a diamond ring, giving him the unmistakable air of a newly wealthy tycoon. Flanking him were two towering men, each over 2 meters tall. Standing rigidly, they resembled massive bears. By contrast, Lin Han's group consisted mostly of slender women, with only Lin Han himself possessing a sturdy build. From the very start of this meeting, Lin Han's side appeared outmatched in imposing presence. Lin Han paid this no mind. He smiled, stepped forward slowly, and held out his hand. Miss Li, this gentleman must be. Lia confirmed his guess and smiled. Brother Lin, this is our leader of the Miners' Brotherhood. You may address him as President Zhang. President Zhang? Lin Han looked surprised. Lia offered an explanation. Before arriving in this world, President Zhang headed a migrant workers' association in City Z, so we all call him President Zhang. I see. Lin Han nodded and extended his hand. President Zhang, it is an honor to meet you. However, President Zhang only glanced at Lin Han's outstretched hand and looked away. So you are the ones who saved Xiaoya? I find that hard to believe. As he spoke, his gaze swept over the women behind Lin Han, his brows furrowed tightly. The implication in his words was clear, and the women's faces darkened with displeasure. Lin Han frowned briefly, but quickly smoothed his expression. President Zhang, Miss Li knows the truth of what happened. I trust she can confirm my account. He paused and continued. I asked you here not to argue over this. I wish to discuss cooperation. Oh, you want to cooperate with me? President Zhang feigned surprise, studying Lin Han openly. Mr. Lin, from what Xiaoya told me, you are newcomers. Tell me, what qualifications do you have to negotiate an alliance with us? Qualifications? Lin Han let out a cold huff. His sharp gaze fell on the two bodyguards beside President Zhang. Without warning, he drew a fire axe from his waist. Before anyone could react, he swung the axe toward one of the towering men at lightning speed. How dare you? The sudden attack caught everyone off guard. The giant man roared in anger and hurled a fist the size of a sandbag straight at Lin Han. The punch carried terrifying force, creating ripples of compressed air. Lin Han's axe swing looked light and unimpressive in comparison. Yet boom. To everyone's shock, the towering brute was sent flying backward like a broken kite the moment the axe struck. Mid-air, he coughed up a mouthful of blood. Silence descended over the scene. Lin Wire and the other women watched Lin Han with bright eyes, full of admiration. Meanwhile, President Zhang's brows drew tight, his earlier disdain vanishing completely. He glanced at his fallen subordinate, then back at Lin Han, his expression turning heavy. Lin Han lowered his axe and met the man's stare with a smirk. President Zhang, do I qualify now? Silence filled the train carriage. Leah stamped her foot anxiously. I said we shouldn't have let things escalate like this. The second bodyguard behind President Zhang finally reacted, drawing a broken blade. He watched Lin Han warily as Lin Han gripped the fire axe. Stand down. Zhang Lu barked. All traces of his arrogance faded. He took a crate from Leah, set it on the table, and opened it. Inside sat 2 bottles of high-proof liquor. In the apocalypse, alcohol of this purity was incredibly valuable. It could be used for disinfection, as an incendiary agent, or to warm patients suffering from hypothermia, a truly precious resource. Please accept my apologies, Mr. Lin. Caution is necessary to survive the end times. These 2 bottles of liquor are offered as my peace offering. Shun Qingyi did not waste words. She stepped forward, planted a crossbow bolt on the table. She picked up the crate of liquor and turned to leave. Lin Han stared at the bolt embedded in the table and smiled faintly. President Zhang, your test came at quite a steep cost. Zhang Lu glanced at the body on the ground and ordered his remaining subordinate. Put that weapon away. If that young woman had not held back, you would already have an arrow in your chest. Drag him outside. Don't soil our guest's train. The subordinate hesitated. But President, if we take him away, you will be alone here. Get moving. Zhang Lu's frown deepened. As his emotions flared, the diamond rings on his 10 fingers glowed with a faint gray-blue light. Lin Han and Shun Qingyi exchanged a look, both realizing the truth. The rings on Zhang Lu's fingers were no mere ornaments. They were processed monster crystals. Without a doubt, his occupational skill was tied directly to these crystals. Zhang Lu sat back at the negotiation table across from Lin Han and leaned back casually. This is simply how things work in the apocalypse. That man lacked skill and was far too eager to pick fights. He would have died sooner or later at the hands of monsters. To fall in battle against a formidable warrior like Mr. Lin is a fitting end for him. Lin Han let out a quiet laugh. It was no surprise he had led a migrant workers' association before the disaster. With such a silver tongue, he could twist his abrupt change of attitude. Leah frowned. President, Brother Lin, let us get to the main point. Both of you want the supplies aboard transport number 77, do you not? Having a neutral mediator often smoothed negotiations considerably. Lin Han turned to Zhang Lu. What exactly are the mutated plants on the transport vehicle? Have you encountered them before? Now discussing serious matters, Zhang Lu dropped his playful demeanor. Mr. Lin, we do not yet know how to eliminate them. We only know they fear low temperatures and fire. That is all. Only that. If that was the full extent of their knowledge, they still had no reliable way to deal with the plants. Zhang Lu thought for a moment. One of our scouting teams managed to retrieve a crystal from one of the plants during an earlier attempt. That leads us to suspect the mutated plants aboard are not a single unified entity. They consist of numerous independent monsters. Crystals. This was critical intelligence. During his earlier fight against the plants, Lin Han had hacked apart countless vines. Although he appeared to deal heavy damage, he had not found a single crystal. That meant all his previous strikes had only destroyed regenerative plant tissue. Much like cutting an octopus's tentacles, severing regrowable limbs achieved nothing. To truly kill the threat, they needed to locate the central core. Lin Han lifted his gaze. President Zhang, we can retrieve the supplies from the transport vehicle. On one condition, I will take half of all cargo aboard. Zhang Lu chuckled. Mr. Lin, that is a bold demand. The transport sits near the frozen canyon, not far from our 6th outpost. Sooner or later, we will recover all those supplies ourselves. Those goods originally belonged to us. Demanding half is hardly a promising start for negotiations. Lin Han leaned forward, narrowing his eyes at Zhang Lu. President Zhang, that transport carries items of immense importance to you. I saw the scene inside the vehicle. You sent multiple teams to search for supplies, yet not a single one returned alive. Think carefully. We are the only group who escaped without casualties. Zhang Lu sighed. Very well. I will treat this as a chance to forge an alliance with Brother Lin. You may take half of all ordinary supplies. However, the contents of the safe box must belong exclusively to the Brotherhood. Agreed. Lin Han accepted the terms without hesitation. I have one more request, President Zhang. We require material support from your group. Zhang Lu looked confused. Supplies? From what I can see, you lack nothing aboard this train. Lin Han smiled faintly. I need gunpowder. After Zhang Lu departed, the women began discussing the negotiations. Lin Han, I think you conceded too much. Without us, the Brotherhood would never recover those supplies. Lin Wire pouted, clearly believing their side had gotten the worst end of the deal. Lin Han shook his head. The cargo is secondary. The far greater prize is the transport vehicle itself. It is a Tier 3 train. You mean? A spark of realization lit up Shun Qingyi's eyes. Our Tundra train is also Tier 3. If we can absorb the transport, we might advance directly to Tier 4. Xia Kersen shook her head. Senior sister, that may not be possible. The transport has been abandoned for a long time, and many components are broken. It cannot push us to a full upgrade. yet it will still grant us a massive performance boost. Su Qian's eyes widened, her admiration for Lin Han growing stronger. Wow, all of us were only focused on the cargo, but you set your sights on the entire vehicle. Zhou Ruodong laughed. No one plans ahead quite like Lin Han. He talks about strengthening our team, yet he always has far-reaching plans hidden away. Lin Han cleared his throat. Hey now, don't twist my intentions. The frozen canyon is no place to venture into carelessly. We need to plan every detail thoroughly. Everyone's nerves had been stretched taut for days, and this brief pause offered a rare chance to unwind. Shen Qingyi tallied their current stock and sighed. Our biggest shortage remains crystals. We hold 52 crystals, yet not a single high-grade crystal among them. Lin Han made the final call. Once our strength improves, hunting ordinary infected creatures will grow easier, and crystals will no longer be scarce. Without a moment's hesitation, all the women agreed that they should prioritize raising Lin Han's level first. What bonuses would a level 2 Berserk Blood Warlord unlock? 25 crystals were consumed. Lin Han's occupational level rose. Ding. Character Lin Han. Occupation level up. S. Class Occupation, Berserk Blood Warlord LV.2. Berserk Rage Passive. Axe damage increased by 500%. Attack speed increased by 80%. Fight to the last passive. Each enemy slain restores 10% maximum HP and grants 10% damage reduction. Stacks up to 30%. Seething Battle Spirit Passive. Gain an additional 10% attack power for every 10 seconds spent in combat, capped at 150%. Decapitate Active. Deal double damage to enemies with HP below 30%. New effect, Execution. Axe strikes landing on an enemy's weak point gain 100% armor penetration. Cooldown, 24 hours. Staring at the upgraded interface, Lin Han's heart surged with excitement. Lin Wire seemed even more eager than him. She clung to his arm and shook it back and forth. Stop keeping us in suspense. Tell us quickly, what improvements did you get this time? Lin Han shared the stats with the group, and all the girls gasped in shock. Zhao Mingyao, a healer, even felt as if her role had become redundant. Up to 30% damage reduction combined with healing effects. Doesn't that mean you're nearly impossible to kill, no matter how much damage you take? Su Qian nodded in agreement. And that execution effect is outrageous. 100% armor penetration. If you stack your attack power to the limit and strike a weak point, wouldn't that deliver an instant kill? Xia Kersen added. We can't overlook the boosts to base attributes either. At first glance, attack power and attack speed only rose slightly, but once these stats work together, their combat strength grows exponentially. A small increase in attack power, a small increase in attack speed. In actual battle, however, combat output equals attack power multiplied by attack speed. Such enhancements were undeniably tremendous. Now our plan to assimilate Train 77 has far higher odds of success. The girls cheered, yet Zhou Ruodong, who normally loved joining their discussions, remained quiet and withdrawn. Every other member of their group had awakened a class or gained combat power. Only she remained a plain, ordinary soldier with no special abilities. Zhou Ruodong even had the faint feeling she did not belong in their conversation at all. Before long, Zhang Lu delivered everything Lin Han had requested. Along with gunpowder, he gave Lin Han 3 extra grenades and various medical supplies. Lin Han accepted all of them without hesitation. The more generously Zhang Lu acted, the clearer it became. Whatever lay inside the transport safe was incredibly vital to the Miners' Brotherhood. To Lin Han's surprise, Leah boarded the train alongside the supplies that night. Brother Lin, you said you didn't need extra manpower, but I still hoped I could find some way to help you all. Leo appeared nervous and uneasy. It was obvious she had come at Zhang Lu's request. Shen Qingyi stepped forward and fixed her gaze calmly on Leah. Raise your hands above your head. Leah looked confused, but complied, overwhelmed by Shen Qingyi's imposing aura. Shen Qingyi patted her down thoroughly, searching every part of her body. Zhao Mingyao whispered quietly to herself. Wow, Senior, why didn't you ask me to join you? Su Qian tapped Zhao Mingyao lightly on the head. What are you thinking? Senior is checking whether Leah is carrying listening devices or anything dangerous. Leah shook her head repeatedly. I have nothing like that. Brother Lin, you saved my life. If I possess any shred of conscience, I would never do anything to harm you. If you're worried I'll get in the way, you can lock me up and set me free once the operation finishes. Leah spoke earnestly. She had once served in the Miners' Brotherhood assault unit. She knew all too well what could happen when teammates doubted one another during a mission. Lin Han shook his head. Don't say that, Leah. We endured hardship together at Outpost 6. You're a B. rank professional, and you'll be a great asset to us when the fight begins. Overjoyed by Lin Han's words, Leah jumped and instinctively stepped forward to grasp his hand. Thank you for trusting me, Brother Lin. The next instant, she felt the envious stares from the other girls and hastily pulled her hand away. Ahem, sorry ladies. Shun Qingyi said nothing, only let out a cold huff before turning toward the train conductor's cabin. Lin Wire's cheeks flushed, yet she made no denial, nervously twisting a strand of her hair. Zhao Mingyao blurted out awkwardly, no, wait. Su Qian diverted her gaze, the tips of her ears burning bright red. Zhou Ruodong glanced between everyone, biting her lower lip gently. For some reason, she could not shake the sense that she was merely an outsider watching from the sidelines. Night fell, and the tundra train rumbled toward the frozen canyon. Lin Han sat in the conductor's seat and sipped coffee with a faint, burnt aftertaste. Xia Kersen always brewed coffee with perfect balance, yet Lin Han found himself partial to this slightly bitter, charred flavor. Perhaps it was because the very first cup of coffee he drank aboard this train had tasted exactly like this. Senior, you deliberately took the stern role confronting Leah earlier, didn't you? Shun Qingyi sat beside him and replied evenly. You are the true core of our team. It falls to you to play the approachable, understanding leader. Lin Han sighed softly. Senior, I'm grateful to have you. Without you, I would struggle to hold our whole group together. Shun Qingyi glanced at him. Oh, do you want the system to grant you a skill to boost your stamina? Lin Han's face flushed with embarrassment. Senior, that's not what I meant. Shun Qingyi smiled faintly, a rare sight. Lin Han, you really are a good person. Don't burden yourself excessively. Every single one of us trusts you completely. Before Lin Han could react, Shun Qingyi leaned in and pressed a light kiss to his cheek. A soft fragrance lingered in the air. She left the conductor's cabin before he could gather his wits. Good night. Lin Han touched the warm spot on his cheek, staring blankly at the steaming mug of coffee on the table. This broken, cruel world did not feel entirely hopeless after all. Outside the cabin, Shun Qingyi steadied her emotions and looked toward a shadowed corner. Ruodong, come out. I know you're there. Zhou Ruodong stood up awkwardly, trying to pretend she had simply been wandering restlessly. Senior, I couldn't sleep, so I came out to walk around. Shun Qingyi walked toward her with a sigh and took hold of Zhou Ruodong's hand, which she had hidden behind her back. Senior, please don't. Shun Qingyi pulled out a sealed rectangular package from Zhou Ruodong's grasp. Zhou Ruodong's face burned crimson. Her naturally red hair made her flustered state even more apparent. Ruodong, do not rush yourself, and never make decisions you will regret under pressure. Wait until you are truly ready before you commit fully. I think none of us have fully realized just how deeply Lin Han cherishes each of us. Shun Qingyi returned the package to Zhou Ruodong and walked back to her carriage. Zhou Ruodong stared at the door to the conductor's cabin. If she stepped inside, she would awaken her power and gain strength equal to the rest of the girls. But what exactly had Shun Qingyi meant with those words? The night passed without further incident. Early the next morning, the scenery outside the windows shifted from barren wasteland to snow-capped, permanently frozen mountain tundra. They were drawing ever closer to Transport Vehicle 77. If we stop between two stations, we will have less time to escape the black tide. According to my calculations, we can halt beside the transport for a maximum of 15 minutes. Xia Kersen shared her calculations first. Lin Han frowned. 15 minutes. We need to transfer supplies, detach a train carriage, and complete the assimilation and upgrade. That time frame is nearly impossible. Ling, give me the absolute critical limit. Xia Kersen closed her eyes. Supported by craftsman's heart, precise calculations came effortlessly to her. Mr. Lin Han, 17 minutes and 37 seconds. This is the absolute time limit, assuming no unexpected complications arise. Lin Han nodded and laid out the battle plan. Once the train stops, Wire, Mingyao, Leah, you three come with me to board the transport and move supplies. Kersen, your task is to separate the train carriage. Su Qian, use your shadow puppets to guard Kersen. Senior and Ruodong will remain on the tundra train to defend it. We cannot risk a repeat of the hijacking incident with the Bloodwolf train. Does anyone have objections? Everyone unanimously agreed to Lin Han's strategy. Shun Qingyi's words from the previous night had bolstered Lin Han's resolve, allowing him to command the operation with steady confidence. Kersen, keep a close eye on the timer. Grab as many supplies as we can carry. Once the final 10-minute countdown begins, start the assimilation immediately. Xia Kersen nodded. Detaching the carriage won't take long. We will rush over to support you the moment we finish. The The Tundra train slowly pulled alongside a rusted transport vehicle. Lin Han charged off the train the instant it came to a stop with the three girls at his heels. The transport's silent entrance gaped open like a yawning maw. As they drew near, two thick thorny vines shot forward, aiming straight for Lin Han's face. Lin Han, watch out! Lin Wire instantly cast her active buff on Lin Han. Combined with the power of Lin Han's second-tier Berserk Blood Warrior class, he swung his axes in both hands. The vines, as thick as thighs, were sliced clean through as if cut by a razor. I'll clear the path. Leah, protect Wire. Mingyao, keep purification ready at all times. The three girls entered combat readiness, following closely behind Lin Han. The moment they stepped inside the transport, Lin Han felt the air grow heavy and oppressive. Toxic spores hung thick in the atmosphere. Purification. This harmful debuff proved powerless against Zhao Mingyao's skill. Vines surged toward the group from every direction, yet Lin Han, wielding twin axes, cut them down as casually as slicing fruit. With a 500% axe damage bonus bolstered further by Lin Wire's aura, these melee-oriented mutated plants were completely suppressed. Gather supplies. Take everything we can carry. Lin Han had emptied his dimensional storage space in advance. He scavenged frantically, loading timber, fuel, and food into his inventory. The other three girls hunted for high-value items such as blueprints, journals, and medical supplies. Ah! Lin Wire let out a sharp scream. The group turned to see a revolting purple flower blooming directly in front of her. Sharp, jagged teeth lined its petals, ready to swallow Lin Wire whole. Look out! Leah panicked and charged to her rescue with a hydraulic cutter. But an unseen vine coiled around her calf, slowing her down. She would not make it in time. Wire! Desperate! Lin Han shouted at Zhao Mingyao. Mingyao, don't forget, you have offensive capabilities now. Zhao Mingyao jolted back to her senses. Ever since her healer class advanced to level 2, she had never tested her new skill, Holy Retribution. She pressed her palms together before her chest and whispered a devout prayer. Golden light spilled out between her fingers. Holy Retribution. Zhao Mingyao's eyes flew open. A brilliant beam of sacred light lit up the entire carriage. The ravenous purple carnivorous flower withered instantly as though seared by flame, its sap and branches going limp. The spores and vines within the carriage fell under the sacred light suppression, temporarily losing all mobility. Even Lin Han was stunned by the skill's power. Damn, if I'd known how strong Mingyao's attack is, I wouldn't have spent so long hacking away with my axes. As the holy light faded, Zhao Mingyao's complexion paled. She grew weak and nearly collapsed. Mingyao, Su Qian, who had finished detaching the carriage and rushed over to offer support, caught her. Zhao Mingyao shook her head. I'm all right. The skill simply drains far too much of my energy. Xia Curson glanced at the wilted vines and guessed, holy magic likely deals extra suppression damage to these toxin-wielding creatures. Lin Han nodded. Take care of Mingyao. Leah, where's the safe Zhang Lu mentioned? It's in the conductor's cabin. The two hurried toward the cabin. The floor beneath their feet grew uneven the deeper they ventured. Lin Han glanced down, and a chill ran down his spine. What they stood on was not metal flooring at all, but a thick layer of leathery organic tissue. Layer upon layer, it resembled dried skin flecks dotted with gray spore cores that stared like countless eyes, watching anyone who drew near. Damn it! This mutated plant turned this transport into its nest. It must have reproduced countless generations here. Leah looked disgusted. It's revolting, like stepping on rotting flesh. A curtain of vines hung down over the entrance to the conductor's cabin. Lin Han sliced through it with his axe, revealing the scene within. Thick organic tissue coated every surface of the cabin. Instrument panels, seats, walls, handrails, every single object. It was as though ravenous membranes had spread over every trace left by humanity. There, the safe. Leah spotted the safe tucked in the corner and hurried forward instinctively. Wait, something feels wrong here. Lin Han tried to stop her, but the moment Leah stepped into the conductor's cabin, the entire transport shook violently. The lifeless organic tissue covering the floor began contracting, converging toward a single point. Vines clinging to the walls peeled away. Now stripped of its organic covering, the cabin crumbled entirely. A 4-meter-tall monster formed from tangled vines and leathery tissue rose upward, its vines binding Leah tightly. What the hell, a trant? Damn it. No wonder we never found any crystal after cutting down all those vines. The main body was pretending to be dead this whole time. Lin Han gripped his fire axe, faced with a difficult dilemma. Leah was wrapped deep inside the trent's body, trapped beneath layers of tough, organic tissue. If he attacked recklessly, he risked hurting her as well. Mr. Lin Han, time is running out. Xia Kersen and the others called out anxiously. Leah struggled to breathe, her lips turning pale. Brother Lin, forget about me. Carry out your plan. Deliver the safe to President Zhang. A surge of anger rose inside Lin Han. Like hell, I'll just hand over a box and leave. What was the point of rescuing you if I abandon you now? Lin Han wielded twin axes and roared, charging straight at the Treant. A single strike sliced off roughly 1/10 of the monster's bulk. It works, yet in the next second, the severed vines and branches regrew in mere seconds. The newly formed limbs lashed out toward Lin Han. Lin Han raised his axes to block, and the impact sent a dull ache through his palms. Before he could recover, a fissure split open on the Trent's torso, and a cloud of dark green toxic spores sprayed toward him. Lin Han rolled frantically to evade the attack. Where the mist touched the railroad tracks, the steel corroded instantly. Shit, that poison is brutal. Open fire. Cover Mr. Lin Han. Xia Kersen summoned 4 mechanical hounds, unleashing sustained gunfire targeting the Trent's lower body. But the creature possessed a measure of intelligence. It shifted its body, using Li Ya as a living shield. Cease fire. Even though Xia Kersen halted shooting immediately, several bullets streaked toward Li Ya. At the critical moment, a gray figure appeared in front of her, intercepting the rounds. Su Qian. Lin Han's heart skipped a beat when he saw the figure. Bullets embedded themselves in the body of the Su Qian decoy, yet the figure showed no sign of pain. Worried about me? Su Qian's playful voice sounded beside Lin Han. He turned to see her standing safely right next to him. Lin Wire's eyes lit up. It's your shadow puppet. Su Qian, that's brilliant. Shen Qingyi's voice crackled over the communicator. Lin Han, have you finished over there? We have 30 seconds left before we exceed the time limit. Damn it. This Treant was unlike any monster they had fought before. A massive tank with incredible durability, capable of endlessly regenerating its vines. Wait a moment. A thought struck Lin Han. If the Treant could regenerate infinitely, what purpose did all those thick layers of organic armor serve? Layers upon layers of heavy armor existed to protect something vital, the core. Lin Han formulated a plan. Mingyao, can you cast Holy Retribution one more time? Aim it only at the section holding Li Ya. Zhao Mingyao gritted her teeth. I can manage a smaller, focus blast. Lin Han nodded. Wire, cast your buff on Mingyao. This beam will decide everything. Su Qian grasped Lin Han's intention and commanded her puppet. Mingyao, fire without fear. My puppet will shield Li Ya. Lin Han smiled in relief. Exactly. Kersen, order the mechanical hounds to suppress the vines and create an opening for me to close in. Understood. The 4 fought in perfect sync. Xia Kersen opened fire first, no longer targeting the Trent's body, but cutting down dozens of whipping vines. Zhao Mingyao closed her eyes and began her incantation. Lin Wire channeled her protective aura to boost Zhao Mingyao's power. Seizing the opening, Lin Han sprinted toward the Treant at top speed. Sensing mortal danger, the Treant sprouted more carnivorous flowers to block his advance. But all of them were hacked to pieces beneath Lin Han's axes, fragments swirling away in the frigid wind. Holy Retribution. Zhao Mingyao finished her chant, and a beam of golden light shot toward the Treant. At the same time, Su Qian's puppet arrived, spreading wide like an umbrella to shelter Li Ya. The organic tissue binding Li Ya dried rapidly, losing its toughness and turning brittle. As soon as the light struck, the exhausted Zhao Mingyao cast one final heal on the unconscious Li Ya. Li Ya regained consciousness and struggled. The dried tissue peeled away like dead bark. Get clear. Su Qian's puppet grabbed Li Ya and pulled her to safety. Meanwhile, Lin Han leaped high overhead and raised his twin axes for a crushing blow. Let me see what this execution ability can do. The Treant sensed imminent destruction. It abandoned all its vines and carnivorous blooms, frantically stacking thick, translucent organic layers around its core to form heavy armor. Yet when Lin Han's axes descended, the dense armor offered no resistance at all, tearing apart like thin paper. Axe of execution. Lin Han's axes struck home, cleaving the 4-meter Treant cleanly in two. Its massive form crashed to the ground. A purple crystal rolled free from the withered organic mass. Lin Han picked up the crystal and held it aloft. We've obtained our first high-grade crystal. The instant the Treant fell, Lin Han activated the train's assimilation ability. A progress bar appeared on the Tundra train's control panel. The weathered Tundra train and rusted transport vehicle began merging into one. Lin Han let out a long breath. His arms were completely drained of strength. Zhao Mingyao had exhausted every last drop of her energy and could barely speak. Su Qian's puppet had sustained heavy damage twice while protecting the group, fulfilling its duty as the frontline defender. Leah had been rescued but still remained disoriented. The victory came at a steep cost. Fortunately, they had seized most of the supplies aboard the transport. Even after splitting half the cargo with the Miners' Brotherhood, the fuel they obtained would sustain them for an entire month without worrying about energy supplies. Shen Qingyi surveyed the storage carriages nearly overflowing with fuel, unable to hide her smile. Before, our fuel reserves only lasted 3 to 5 days. We've never had resources this abundant. Zhou Ruodong added joyfully. Timber, iron ingots and other materials are in surplus now. Lin Han defeated the Treant and gained a high-grade crystal too. The train will definitely advance to Tier 4. However, Xia Kursen, who cared most about the train's upgrade, wore a grave expression. Mr. Lin Han, I'm afraid we are already out of time. A skin-crawling roar echoed from the horizon. Lin Han leaned against the window and looked out. In the distance, a surging black tide of troops rolled forward like storm clouds bearing down upon the snow-capped ice plains. Faster zombie hounds were already closing in on the rear of the train, bloodlust blazing in their eyes. If we get trapped by this zombie horde, we'll never escape. Shen Qingyi frowned deeply. She had picked up her ice-hunting crossbow without anyone noticing. I'll head out to buy us time. Everyone stay on the train and rest. Xia Kursen spoke up right away. I'm coming too. My mechanical hounds can join the fight. The two women hopped off the train to engage the enemy. In the span of just a few exchanges, the swift zombie hounds drew near the train's tail. Monstrous abominations. Shen Qingyi's gaze turned frigid. Her crossbow bolts never missed, each shot burying itself dead center in a zombie hound's skull. Unlike her companions who relied heavily on skills, Shen Qingyi fought almost purely relying on her own physical prowess. Xia Kursen commanded her 4 mechanical hounds to lay down suppressing fire. The zombie hounds that had pressured them severely just days ago were no longer much of a threat. Bolts and machine gun fire mowed down swathes of monsters. Lin Wire pumped her fist aboard the train. We've grown so much stronger. Zhou Ruodong nodded, a flicker of envy in her tone. Truly, before, it would take 3 or 4 of us just to handle a single ordinary zombie hound. Now Xia Kursen's mechanical hounds can hold back entire swarms. Yet compared to the optimism of the other girls, Lin Han's frown only deepened. It's not enough. These zombies have no minds, feel no pain, and fear no death. The piles of fallen corpses ahead won't slow their advance at all. Once the main force arrives, the two of them won't be able to sustain this firepower. Lin Han glanced at the progress bar inside the train master's cabin. Less than 10% remained. Su Qian, Ruodong, grab fuel and lumber. We're going to build a wall of fire outside. Understood. Everyone proved utterly reliable in this critical moment. Su Qian expended a crystal to summon a fully healthy puppet, which hoisted stacks of lumber and stepped off the train. Zhou Ruodong hauled crates of fuel and followed closely behind. By now, Shen Qingyi and Xia Kursen had been forced back beside the train, and segments of the black tide had reached their position. Stitched corpses and humanoid zombies charged relentlessly toward the train. I've run out of bolts, Shen Qingyi said anxiously. Lin Han gritted his teeth. We have no choice but to push forward. Senior sister, lead the others to spread out the lumber and fuel. Right now, only flames and explosions can slow their advance. I'll buy you the time you need. As he spoke, Lin Han pulled a potion of latent power out of his storage space and chugged it on the spot. It seemed the potion's effects grew stronger alongside the user's physical constitution. The moment the liquid slid down his throat, a warm current spread from his lower abdomen to every limb. Veins bulged beneath his skin, as if his stamina had been fully restored. He stared at the zombies roaring as they charged toward him, grabbed his twin battle axes, and roared as he charged straight into the fray. You're not the only ones willing to fight to the death. Lin Han charged into the vanguard of the black zombie tide like a whirling tempest. His passive ability battle until death granted him continuous regeneration. Burning Battle will steadily stacked his attack power as he fought, while Frenzied Blood Rage boosted his attack speed higher and higher, letting him harvest crystal cores from wave after wave of zombies. Fueled by the potion, his attack power had at least doubled. Even the stitched corpses that had proven difficult opponents before could not survive a second axe strike from him now. Zhou Ruodong covered her mouth in shock. This man, he's unbelievably strong. In this primitive, harsh wasteland, such raw, overwhelming combat strength offered the greatest sense of safety imaginable. Shen Qingyi said sharply, Don't waste the time Lin Han is buying us. Lay out the fire barrier quickly to split apart the incoming main horde. The lumber and fuel they had stockpiled earlier were now put to vital use. Once everything was arranged, the four girls shouted toward Lin Han amid the chaos. Lin Han, you can ignite it now. Lin Han was covered head to toe in blood and severed limbs. If the girls did not recognize his face, they might mistake him for another zombie amid the carnage. His cold, resistant suit was stained a dark crimson, resembling a scarlet cloak as he rampaged through the undead horde. Get back on the train. I'll use grenades to light the blaze. Su Qian nodded. Very well, we will. Before she could finish, the normally calm Shen Qingyi cut her off. Are you speaking nonsense? At least 100 zombies surround him, closing in layer after layer. If we don't cover his retreat now, he will never fight his way out. Shen Qingyi did not notice the tremor creeping into her own voice. Lin Han cleaved a stitched corpse in two with his axe, yet this blow lacked the clean severing force from moments earlier. He was nearing his limit. His battle against the Treant had already drained his stamina. Though the potion of latent power unlocked temporary surges of strength, after slaying dozens of zombies non-stop, his body could no longer endure such grueling combat. Senior sister, trust me, I have a way to break free. Lin Han landed another heavy blow, splitting the stitched corpse apart, but a zombie's strike landed squarely on his shoulder. Pain crashed over him as if 1,000 gene weight had crashed into his flesh. Xia Kersen tugged at Shen Qingyi's arm to persuade her. Senior sister, we have to retreat. If we linger beside the planned fire line, Lin Han won't be able to set the fuel alight. All we will accomplish is letting more zombies surge forward. Shen Qingyi gripped her empty crossbow, stared at Lin Han locked in melee with the undead, and gritted her teeth. Retreat. The instant the girls climbed back aboard the train's absorption process reached completion. Lin Han had placed the high-grade crystal inside the train master's cabin well in advance. The moment absorption finished, the train officially upgraded. Ding! Congratulations! Tundra train has risen to LV.4. Maximum carriage capacity increased from 6 to 10. Bonus reward: bathroom carriage unlocked. External weapon ports expanded from 2 to 4. Maximum travel speed raised from 80 km per hour to 100 km per hour. Additionally, thanks to the absorbed transport vehicle, your personal storage space expands from 10 cubic meters to 20 cubic meters. The Tundra train's durability and structural integrity had also improved, but Lin Han had no time to pay attention to these notifications. The main bulk of the black zombie tide rolled forward, covering every inch of the landscape. The thunderous noise they created alone inspired dread. Part of Lin Han's cold, resistant suit on his right arm had been torn completely open, revealing scarred, bulging muscles beneath. Blood and grime streaked his face. A faint smile tugged at his lips, akin to a battle-crazed warrior. You abominations. You fear fire, don't you? Lin Han pulled a bottle of liquor from his storage space. He took a large gulp before spraying the alcohol outward in a wide arc. At the same time, he pulled out a lighter, ignited it, and tossed it into the air. Boom. The lighter ignited the airborne liquor. A massive burst of flame erupted and swirled around Lin Han. The liquor acted as the perfect incendiary agent amid the snow, carrying fire to the lumber and fuel laid out beforehand. In mere seconds, a blazing fire barrier stretching over a dozen meters ignited, forming a natural barrier the zombies dreaded. The zombies surrounding Lin Han panicked, thrown into sudden chaos by the unexpected inferno. The next moment, Lin Han tightened his grip on his twin axes and charged toward the train, pouring every last ounce of strength into his breakout. Su Qian rushed to the carriage door and stretched out a hand toward her shadow. Shadow puppet, move out. Su Qian's shadow shifted into the shape of a young woman, racing across the battlefield at high speed to position itself behind Lin Han, intercepting surprise attacks coming from his rear. Come and get this, mindless zombies. Catch. After breaking through the encirclement, Lin Han pulled out 3 grenades Zhang Lu had given him. There was no room to hold back now, and he hurled them behind him. A dozen zombies chasing Lin Han closed in, eager to strike. The round metal spheres slammed into their heads. Before the confused undead could figure out what the objects were, the grenades detonated violently. The blast sent the pursuing zombies flying. Hurry! Hurry! Lin Wire shouted from the doorway. Senior sister, start the locomotive early. I can make it. The fire barrier could only stall the black tide temporarily. A single line of flames would never hold back tens of thousands of undead. Dense swarms of zombies pressed forward toward the train's rear. It was now a race against death. What do we do? They're catching up. Lin Wire fidgeted anxiously, wishing she could transform into an offensive fighter. There's no need to panic. Our train has finished upgrading. Xia Kersen took her place in the train master's cabin, adjusting the onboard grenade launcher and machine guns to target the black tide chasing Linhan. Zombies, times have changed. Xia Kursin pressed the trigger. Grenades arced through the sky and crashed into the masses of zombies with unrelenting force. Flames burst everywhere, explosions erupting one after another. Heavy caliber machine guns mowed down wave after wave of charging undead like harvesting wheat. I made it. Linhan seized the door of the final carriage and leaped aboard. The train was just accelerating, speeding away from the horde. With its new maximum speed of 100 kilometers per hour, the vehicle quickly pulled away from the black tide. They had survived. The moment Linhan climbed safely on board, he collapsed to the ground. Lin Wire screamed and hurried forward to catch him. She was a split second too slow, and Linhan slumped forward against her chest. Lin Wire suspected he had done it on purpose. Zhao Mingyao struggled to her feet, ready to cast her healing magic on Linhan. Shun Qingyi gently shook her head. Don't push yourself too hard. Restore your own strength first before healing Linhan. Zhao Mingyao nodded and sat back down to rest. Shun Qingyi grabbed a first aid kit and led Linhan into the trainmaster's cabin. I'll clean and dress his wounds. Everyone take this chance to rest. The train raced at full speed. After reaching level 4, the space within the carriages felt far more spacious. Before, everyone was constantly aware they were trapped inside a train. Now, the Tundra train felt more like a home. Xia Kursin carried boxes of ammunition to reload the emptied weapon magazines. Su Qian's eyes lit up with admiration. That grenade launcher is incredible. It feels like the heavy weaponry on this train packs more firepower than all of us combined. Zhou Ruodong nodded. No wonder the Bloodwolf gang wanted to seize other trains. High-level trains are mobile fortresses. Xia Kursin spoke modestly. None of this would be possible without Linhan buying us time. If he hadn't held off the first wave of zombies alone, we would never have laid out the fuel barrier or waited for the train to finish upgrading. Worry crossed Xia Kursin's features. I wonder how Linhan is holding up. I heard that potion he drank carries severe side effects. I hope it won't permanently damage his body. Side effects. Su Qian and Zhou Ruodong exchanged a glance, curious expressions crossing their faces. They glanced toward Lin Wire, who was keeping Zhao Mingyao company, then quietly crept toward the trainmaster's cabin. Hey, don't push. Keep your voice down. We can't let senior sister notice us. One after another, they pressed their ears against the cabin door to eavesdrop. Senior sister, do I really need to take this off? Senior sister, go slowly. I can't stand such sudden pressure. The two girls flushed red listening, yet they bit their fingers and continued eavesdropping. In truth, they had completely misunderstood what was unfolding inside. Shun Qingyi stripped off Linhan's inner shirt, her expression stern. Quit complaining. Of course you need to remove it. Look at all these wounds covering your body. The zombies carry filth. Do you want to risk infection? Linhan said weakly. Mingyao can cast purification magic later. Shun Qingyi dabbed iodine onto his injuries. Purification magic? Mingyao is completely drained. Let her recover first. Senior sister, not all at once. Shun Qingyi watched Linhan's pained reaction, feeling equal parts exasperated and amused. Once she finished cleaning all his wounds, she stared at his body covered in countless lacerations. He was truly battered from head to toe. Shun Qingyi pressed her lips together, touched by what she saw. Charging in and out of the zombie horde, putting on a display of fearless ferocity, Linhan must have marched into battle prepared to die. He had sworn he would protect everyone aboard the train, protect the people he cared about. And he had kept that promise. Senior sister, the wound on my neck is itching badly. Can you put ointment on it? My arms feel limp as rubber tubes. I don't have an ounce of strength left. A faint amused lilt entered Shun Qingyi's voice. Is that so? No strength at all. Yet it seems certain parts of you are still perfectly alert. Linhan froze and instinctively glanced down. Linhan's face burned. Senior sister, that's just a side effect of the potion. I'm not thinking anything strange. All I want right now is to rest. Shun Qingyi picked up the ointment bottle and looked down at him. Oh, does your neck stop itching then? Linhan swallowed hard. From this upward angle, Shun Qingyi looked extraordinarily commanding. Very well, apply the ointment first, then I'll rest. To Linhan's surprise, Shun Qingyi squeezed ointment onto her palm, dipped her fingertip into it, and carefully spread the salve across the irritated wound on his neck with gentle, precise movements. Linhan inhaled sharply at the cool, stinging sensation of the medicine. Rest would have to wait. Su Qian and Lin Wire stayed pressed against the cabin door, ears perked up like rabbits. Can you hear anything? They looked at each other, a little disappointed. Only Linhan's voice. Not a single sound from senior sister. Is she really that quiet? Lin Wire tilted her head in confusion. From her own experience, during intimate moments, people usually could not hold back soft sounds. Why was Senior Sister completely silent? Was this some new way of handling things? Su Qian teased her. Not everyone is like you, practically letting the whole train hear whenever Lin Han dotes on you. Lin Wire raised her fist and playfully swatted at Su Qian. As they tussled, the lock on the cabin door turned. Shen Qingyi stepped outside, cheeks flushed. Senior Sister. The two girls stared at her awkwardly. Shen Qingyi's lips were pressed tight, and she looked preoccupied. She walked straight past them toward the washroom without a word. Moments later, Su Qian and Lin Wire heard the sound of rinsing coming from the bathroom. Inside the trainmaster's cabin, Lin Han lay back against the seat, worn out after the exhausting treatment. That relief is incomparable. He thought back to how carefully Shen Qingyi had tended to his injuries, and strength slowly returned to his limbs once more. Ding! You have shared an intimate bond with Shen Qingyi. Permanent physical stat boost. Agility increased by 30%. Despite his wounds, Lin Han could feel his body growing lighter. He had noticed this type of physical bonus before. Every time he formed a close bond with one of the girls, he received a unique enhancement. The type of boost depended on the girl and her class. Back when he connected with Su Qian in the medical carriage, he gained extra health, improved damage resistance, fitting for her shadow puppet, which excels at absorbing attacks on the front lines. Zhao Mingyao, the healer, granted faster natural recovery. Lin Wire, the support buffer, boosted his raw strength. It made perfect sense that Shen Qingyi, a ranged fighter relying on hit and run tactics, would improve his agility. Ding! Bonus item rewarded. 3 frost arrows. Frost arrow, forged by the ancient elven race. These arrows carry primal ice magic. Upon impact, they briefly freeze all targets within an area. Freeze duration depends on the target's resilience. Area of effect freezing? This was similar to a large-scale crowd control freezing spell. Lin Han stared at the 3 ice, blue arrows appearing beside him, already imagining their tactical value in combat. Especially in large-scale battles he faced more and more often. Whether fighting zombies or hostile humans, this area freeze would catch enemies completely off guard. A shame there are only 3. Shen Qingyi returned from the washroom, fixing her hair and clothes, regaining her usual calm, composed demeanor. Count yourself lucky. These 3 arrows came at quite a cost to me. Lin Han grinned, curious. By the way, Senior Sister, did you receive any rewards as well? Shen Qingyi stood tall, and her ice-hunting crossbow materialized in her hands. The temperature inside the trainmaster's cabin seemed to drop instantly. Pale blue lights swirled around her form, and her ears slowly elongated into delicate elven ears. I have awakened my official class, Elven Archer. I am truly an Elven Archer now. Excitement bubbled beneath Shen Qingyi's calm tone. Aside from Lin Han, she had always been their primary frontline combatant and his most reliable ally. But as their journey pushed deeper into dangerous territory and enemies grew stronger, Shen Qingyi, who fought relying mostly on physical ability and crossbow bolts, had gradually struggled to keep pace. Unlocking an official class was not only a massive gain for their team, it restored Shen Qingyi's confidence as the group's steady leader. Right, Senior. I remember the first class promotion doesn't cost many crystals. You might as well advance straight to level 2. Shen Qingyi let out a bitter smile and stretched out her slender finger, tapping Lin Han lightly on his forehead. Ow! The touch was cool and surprisingly pleasant. Shen Qingyi shot him a glare. You have no idea how tight our supplies are, do you? Between this promotion and preparing for the Black Tide, we've emptied all our reserves. We don't have a single crystal left for further upgrades. Watching Shen Qingyi's worried expression, Lin Han grinned. Senior, if I can come up with the crystals, can I get a reward? Without hesitation, Shen Qingyi reached out and pinched Lin Han's arm. Lin Han yelped. Whoa, forget the reward. That's not the kind I wanted. Shen Qingyi huffed and released him, casually wiping her hand on his jacket afterward. Once Lin Han calmed down, he stretched out his right hand and grasped at empty air. A large handful of blue crystals clattered down like game pieces, piling into a small mound. The sight stunned Shen Qingyi completely. Where did all these come from? Lin Han smiled. Hee. While I was holding back the Black Tide earlier, I took down hordes of zombies. I hated the thought of leaving all these crystals behind. My fire axe can break nearly any defense now, so I simply stored every crystal that dropped into my storage space. As she watched Lin Han's earnest smile, a warm feeling surged in Shen Qingyi's heart. Earlier that day, when Lin Han told the others to return to the vehicle first, overwhelming panic had washed over her. Fear and anxiety gnawed at her. She dared not imagine the worst-case scenario. She was terrified that after they boarded the vehicle, they would never see this man again, reckless at times, calm and resourceful at others, always finding a way through. Whatever kind of man he was someone she cared deeply for. You're such a hoarder, chasing every crystal you can find. Shen Qingyi chided gently. As she bent to collect the crystals, she brushed a soft kiss across Lin Han's cheek. 5 crystals consumed. Class promotion to Elf Archer LV.2 complete. Shen Qingyi, Elf Archer LV.2. Trait: Endless Ice Arrows. When wielding any bow or crossbow, grants infinite elemental arrows. Fired ice arrows have a 30% chance to freeze targets. Elf Plumage. Each arrow fired stacks a 20% fire rate boost, up to a maximum of 100%. At maximum stacks, unlimited rapid fire becomes available. Precision. Grants 20% armor penetration. Attacks against frozen targets double armor penetration effect. This is fantastic. We won't have to worry about running out of arrows anymore. Early the next morning, everyone slowly recovered their strength. Zhao Mingyao benefited the most. Once her stamina returned, she cast Restoration on Lin Han and Leah. The spell instantly revitalized both of them. After waking up, Leah's first concern was the safe. Don't worry one bit, Lin Wire teased with a smile. Lin Han might have his flaws, but he always keeps his promises once he makes them. Leah lifted the safe, held it to her ear, and shook it, listening to the sound from within. Satisfied that something remained inside, she breathed a sigh of relief. Curious, Lin Han asked, what exactly is locked inside? It's important enough that President Zhang sacrificed numerous teams just to retrieve it. A troubled look crossed Leah's face. After a moment of hesitation, she spoke. Ordinarily, I shouldn't share this information with people outside our faction, but you saved my life twice, and you helped retrieve this safe. I can't keep this hidden from you. Her expression turned serious. You likely already know that upgrading the train to level 5 unlocks a purified zone. Zombies are permanently driven away within these lands. Having a purified zone means gaining a true home where we can settle down and build. Everyone nodded. While the train offered safety and a place to stay, the constant sense of displacement could only truly fade once they settled firmly on a stretch of land. However, upgrading to level 5 requires far more than just raising the train's level. 3 vital special items must also be obtained. They are the Faction Battle Standard, representing the morale of faction members, the Leader's Emblem, representing authority, and the Energy Core, representing supplies and survival. The Energy Core needs to be forged from multiple components, yet only the leader, the train conductor, knows the full crafting recipe. Even within our brotherhood, only high-ranking members know the required materials. My rank does not grant me access to that knowledge. Leah's words plunged Lin Han and the others into thought. What was the greatest danger in surviving the apocalypse? Information disparity. When resources are scarce, those who learn vital information early seize everything for themselves. Latecomers are left scrambling for scraps just to stay alive. This truly is a dog-eat-dog world, Lin Han muttered, sipping his coffee. Su Qian could not help but interject. Must everyone fight over territory? Wouldn't it be better if we all fought zombies separately, gathered resources, leveled up our trains, and built our own homesteads? Lin Han sighed and explained the requirements to advance a level 4 train to level 5. We need a level 5 blueprint, 300 ordinary crystals, 20 advanced crystals, plus massive quantities of lumber and iron ore. On top of that, we need a rare resource called Ash's Rare Earth. There is also a new system mechanic called Devour Value. Devour Value only rises when we absorb other people's trains. We need 100 Devour Value total to initiate the upgrade. Zhou Ruodong's eyes widened in shock. Devour Value? That sounds like the system is actively encouraging trains to wage war on one another. And what exactly is Ash's Rare Earth? Leah answered. Ash's Rare Earth only spawns in regions surrounding Ash's Station. Ash's Station? That territory belongs to the Blood Wolf Gang. Zhao Mingyao spoke with clear distaste. Since arriving in this world, the 2 major conflicts they had with other human groups were both against the Blood Wolf Gang. Leah nodded. Exactly. The Blood Wolf Gang seized control of Ash's Station because this rare earth is mandatory for train upgrades. They turned the station into a stronghold, letting them hoard resources and raid other trains to boost their Devour Value. Her tone darkened as unpleasant memories surfaced. We lost countless comrades trying to secure rare earth at Ash's Station. This world is brutal. Anyone without sufficient strength becomes prey for others. The train rumbled onward as heavy snow swirled outside the windows. A somber mood settled within the tundra train. They had fought countless battles and witnessed humanity's ugliest sides amid the apocalypse. Still, learning that their future would be paved with blood and endless struggle filled them with a suffocating weight. Bang! Lin Han abruptly stood, grabbed his fire axe, and headed toward the rear carriages. Lin Han, where are you going? Lin Wire grew anxious and started to follow him. For the women aboard, Lin Han was their unshakable pillar. If even he crumbled under pressure, they would have no idea how to carry on surviving. Wire, stay here, Shen Qingyi called out to stop her. But Shen Qingyi placed the large pile of ordinary crystals Lin Han had collected the previous night onto the table. Lin Han risked his life gathering these crystals during the Black Tide. I counted 42 in total. I used 5 to advance my class to level 2 last night. Wire, Su Qian, each of you take 5 crystals to promote your own classes to level 2. If you truly care for Lin Han, grow stronger to support him. Become reliable allies who can share his burdens. Staring toward Lin Han's retreating figure, Lin Wire gritted her teeth and picked up her share of crystals. I will stand beside Lin Han and protect him. Su Qian also took her crystals. From now on, I will fight alongside Lin Han on the front lines to protect all of us. Still, Xia Kersen, who paid close attention to every detail, caught something odd. Wait a moment, senior. You said you promoted your class last night, which means, in an instant, every woman except Leah turned their gaze towards Shen Qingyi. Su Qian and Lin Wire, who had overheard events the night prior, exchanged a glance and coughed quietly before stepping away to begin their promotions. Everyone knew a class could only be unlocked through special bonding with Lin Han. Xia Kersen quickly connected the dots. Shen Qingyi had spent private time with Lin Han the night before. A faint awkwardness crossed Shen Qingyi's features, yet she quickly regained her composed leadership demeanor. Ruodong, go check on Lin Han. Comfort him if he needs it. Zhou Ruodong pointed at herself, confused. Me? The others understood Shen Qingyi's intention and gently urged Zhou Ruodong toward the rear carriage. Senior, how exactly should I comfort him? The question sounded strange even as it left Zhou Ruodong's mouth. Zhao Mingyao scratched the back of her neck. Do you want me to share some guides that might help you? After the train expanded to 10 carriages, usable space had grown significantly. Xia Kersen converted one carriage for ammunition storage and another to hold supplies scavenged from transport vehicles. Lin Han walked past these carriages and headed straight for the ecological carriage, the mission reward they received from the ranch. Thanks to its unique, growing environment, livestock matured far faster here. After only a few days, several sheep inside were ready for slaughter. Time to prepare a feast. With Lin Han's current physical ability, catching and butchering sheep was effortless. When Zhou Ruodong arrived at the ecological carriage, Lin Han was already slicing mutton. Staring at the fresh, red meat, Zhou Ruodong exclaimed in surprise. You're making mutton hot pot slices? Lin Han grinned. Exactly. It's freezing outside, and everyone is worn out from recent battles. A warm mutton hot pot will be perfect for lifting everyone's spirits. Seeing Lin Han bustling about, Zhou Ruodong felt deeply moved. Just as Shen Qingyi had said, Lin Han treated all of them like cherished family, not merely bargaining chips or temporary survival partners. I'll help you. Zhou Ruodong volunteered and began gathering potatoes, baby greens, and other vegetables growing within the carriage. The ecological compartment held a rich variety of fresh produce. The man prepared meat, and the woman cleaned vegetables. It felt reminiscent of simple, peaceful farming life from before the catastrophe. In addition to basic provisions, the scavenged transport vehicle carried seasonings and canned luncheon meat. Lin Han found a large pot and prepared a broth base using sheep bones, planning to carry everything to the meeting room in the second carriage for a group meal. Zhou Ruodong glanced at the dozens of plates of prepared ingredients and frowned. There's so much food. How will we carry all of it? Lin Han smiled mysteriously. Watch this magic trick. He stretched out his hand and activated his storage space, stowing the pot and all ingredients inside in one go. Zhou Ruodong lightly punched his shoulder. That's hardly magic. We all know you have storage space. As they joked, Lin Han picked up a washed blueberry and tossed it into her mouth. The sweet and tart flavor burst across her tongue the moment she bit into it. It had been far too long since she'd eaten fresh fruit. Blueberries? Where did these come from? Lin Han split his handful of blueberries and gave half to Zhou Ruodong, nodding toward a small bush. I spotted them while cleaning the mutton. These are just for you, a reward for helping me prepare the meal. Only for her. This quiet gesture of exclusive favor made Zhou Ruodong's heartbeat quicken. The two walked side by side through the carriage passage toward the second carriage. Midway, Lin Han felt a light, tentative hand brush against his palm. He turned and saw Zhou Ruotong blushing, carefully slipping one finger into his hand. Red hair, flushed ear tips, and a young woman with a racing heart. Lin Han did not hesitate and wrapped his hand around hers. Outside the train, bitter cold reigned. Inside, warmth surrounded them. Lin Han, the 6 women, and Leah enjoyed a hearty mutton hot pot dinner together. After the meal, someone brought up a recent addition to the train. Didn't we unlock a bathing carriage once we reached level 4? You're right. It's been ages since any of us had a proper bath. Let's try it out. Xia Kersen looked forward to it. In my homeland, bathing together with family is a precious daily tradition. Leah spoke with envy. Your train is incredible. Our Brotherhood's level 4 train never gained such a facility. Lin Wire clapped her hands. I have something fun to show everyone. Moments later, Lin Wire returned with several sets of casual swimwear, holding them up for the group to see. Tada! Doesn't this bring back memories? When Lin Han saw the swimsuits, he froze for a second. These were the swimsuits worn by the 5 models they first encountered upon arriving in this world. The bold Su Qian stepped forward first and claimed her blue and white checkered set. Hee, I'll head to the bathing area and wait for everyone. Shen Qingyi took her green set without a word, her actions speaking louder than any response. The remaining 3 women picked out their swimsuits and pulled Leah and Xia Kersen toward the changing area. Before leaving, Lin Wire brushed gently against Lin Han's arm. Be careful not to wander into the wrong section later. Lin Han swallowed hard. He had already grown close with several of the women. Yet seeing them all prepared for a relaxing bath still filled him with anticipation. The prospect of everyone gathering in the bathing carriage felt incredibly welcoming. Lin Han quickly changed, wrapped a towel around himself, and hurried toward the bathing carriage. The moment he stepped inside, disappointment washed over him. Wait, the bathing area is split into male and female sections. Lin Han groaned. 2 choices lay before him. First, he could use the male bathing section normally to ease his fatigue. Second, he could ignore the separation and walk into the female section, uncertain what the others would think. He finally understood the hidden meaning behind Lin Wire's playful warning. He could hear laughter and splashing water coming from behind the partition of the female bathing area. He could almost picture the group relaxing in the warm water behind the thin divider. Forget hesitation. Lin Han steeled himself, closed his eyes, and charged forward, straight into the male bathing area. He was far from perfect, yet his long-held principles stopped him from trespassing into the female section when a designated male space existed. However, the instant he stepped into the male bathing area, a chorus of bright laughter greeted him. Haha, senior, you won the bet. He really didn't sneak into the women's side. Lin Han stood frozen, staring in surprise as the 5 women sat in the warm pool wearing their swimsuits. Shen Qingyi carried an elegant coolness. Lin Wire radiated gentle purity. Zhao Mingyao had a soft, warm aura. Su Qian possessed a slender grace. And Zhou Ruotong exuded fiery vitality. For a moment, Lin Han did not know where to focus his gaze. Why are all of you here? Lin Wire swam over to him, scooped up water and splashed it lightly toward him, smiling. You chose to respect the boundaries, so we decided to come keep you company. Don't just stand there. The warm water feels wonderful. Lin Wire and Su Qian reached out together and pulled Lin Han down into the pool. During the playful tugging, Lin Han's towel slipped off. Facing him directly, Zhou Ruotong let out a startled cry. Ah, Lin Han, where is your swimming trunks?